There we go. We're finally here. We're going live. All is well. Right. Yes, we are live. It is not quite 2 o'clock, but we're getting there. I always like to let you settle into the whole thing, just to kind of settle it down and let the computer decide what it's going to do, and let, of course, YouTube, in its infinite wisdom, decide what it's going to do as well, because seems to be there's days to me on this thing that just seem to not work, and other days it all works, but in the behind the scenes a lot of it's not working. But I'm working, I'm here. Welcome to the Sunday service. We are back again. God bless all here and all that sort of thing. We're back again for another lovely crap weather Sunday, which is usually the best kind of Sundays, because you're all ready to rock then when you get that sort of day. I forgot to turn on the light actually. Hold on, there's a light missing. I should have turned on the light there. There's so many lights now, so many things to do, because it gets dark really quick. It gets dark like halfway through the Sunday service, which is no good. So you can't be doing that, can you? That looks a bit better. That's a bit better. That's alright. And of course, once the light goes down, if you have webcams, you have anything that works like that, once they start to lose light, they have to try and make up the light. And then it gets really grainy as it strains to push the contrast and the brightness and everything else up that it possibly can. Oh, we're looking good already. Loads joining in today. Good stuff. I love it when loads of you are here. The Stuart comment is gone for some strange reason. Top chat, show all chat, don't be live chat. There we go, now we're talking. I popped out little windows now, 2 windows now, so I can see all over the place. I'm like omnipresent now, I'm everywhere. It's mad. I have a really good competition for you today though. It's very, very good competition. We'll come to that after, once we get through a few of the hellos to everybody. Flavinite Disciple is here. Good afternoon, everybody. Is that upside down or is that right way up? I don't know. Anyway, Mercedes 20% in Aston Martin. Good move for both. Yeah, Aston Martin's been in trouble for a long... Actually, Aston Martin has been falling from chaos to chaos since the Aston Martin DB9, essentially. Money-wise, on top of those, sales-wise. Because for a company that only make one brand of car, you have to think about that sort of thing. That's what the problem is, right? Because most other companies have other brands. Look at Volkswagen Group, right? They can fall in and out of love with various brands and try and sell more stuff. Mercedes the same. They own bits and pieces of other things. They have trucks and stuff. But Aston Martin, they had to buy a Toyota to make their CO2 emissions lower. And the CO2 emissions, of course, are killing them, because they have big petrol engines, and that's what they rely on, right? So even Porsche did some diesels and are now doing hybrids and electric cars. So where does that leave Aston Martin? So Mercedes probably bought it in pretty reasonably, and I'd say there's also a trade-off on the Mercedes EQC range, which will lower the overall CO2 emissions of the entire group, hopefully. I think it'll be a great move. I think Mercedes is a good brand. They understand what luxury means. They have their AMG range. They're into performance. They know what they're doing. So for them to take an interest in Aston might actually save the company from doom, which is what we all want, because even if you don't own an Aston Martin, they are phenomenal looking machines, aren't they? Absolutely love DB9. I'd love to collect a DB9. But I'd love to see Aston Martin make good on the promise and come back and do something interesting. They probably spend an awful lot of money on James Bond, in fairness, but it does seemingly gets a lot of returns. And speaking of James Bond, R.I.P. Sean Connery, the original franchised James Bond, not the original James Bond, but the original franchised James Bond, where the franchise really began with Dr. No. And his first Aston Martin was 2 movies in. I think he was a couple of movies in before he actually got into Aston Martin. Dr. No, he drove a Talbot Sunbeam, which was the first time I'd ever seen James Bond drive a car. And it actually, the Aston Martin connection came because so many people took such an interest in that little Talbot Sunbeam. Everybody wanted one all of a sudden, which is kind of cool. Reminder, Tony O'Mara that was. Good afternoon all. Paul O'Connor's here. Mark Turner Smith's here. Hope all is well. Lockdown number 2, UK Thursday onwards. We're already in it. We're 2 weeks into it now. We still have another month of full lockdown according to the way it was running. Now, whether that actually happens or not, I don't know. There's a lot of pressure on right now on the government to move something along. The part that's killing me right now is clothing. Like, I need some socks and jocks. And what's really frustrating is you can go to Tesco's and you can buy wine and you can buy a television and you can buy consumer goods of all phones and anything you want, but you know what you can't buy? Socks, right? And you can't buy, and they're right there, and you can't buy toys. You can't buy toys there either. That had to be fenced off. I was tweeting about it during the week. It really is fucking annoying when you're trying to get something what you want and you can't get it and they won't give it to you and they won't do what you're told. So I just think the clothes are essential. But then on the flip side of that, they want to avoid people standing in pennies in huge numbers, all just browsing for the crack with nothing better to do. That's really what it's all about, because everyone else is able to buy online. Yegra, I think I just butchered your name, sorry, looking forward to a bit, no problem. Mark Turner Smith, love the new Sunday Service logo, Bob, very cool. Yeah, that was actually designed for me by a guy on Instagram. He does my Twitch stream logo, which is what he wanted, and then he made a Sunday Service one as well. I am getting a new range of t-shirts made by an Irish company this time. A Teespring is one that YouTube forced me into doing. And I never really, not forced me, but said you have to, if you want to sell t-shirts, this is how you sell them. And of course we created, but Teespring, although the product is okay, I just find them a bit expensive by the time you pay taxes, and it takes so long to get here, and it's very hard to get them in. Like Teespring never lose. You could lower your I could make €1 from a t-shirt, it still could be 20 quid. It's just mad. Like so I have an Irish company, a Kerry company, who approached me from TikTok and said they wanted to get involved. So I approached them as well, and we had a little call the other night, and they're going to make up some really cool t-shirts, and we're going to get them brought out, and you'll be able to buy them here in Ireland, and they'll be at reasonable price rather than being mad prices, and totally Irish as well, which is great. Eric Watcher's here, come on. Peter Cupid is here as well. Stuart McHugh, looks like rain, Ted. Well, yeah, looking out my window right now, that is torrential rain that's falling right now, but we're all indoors enjoying ourselves and relaxing. Jared Hewitt is here. Jared, actually, you have to ask you a question. I don't remember what it was now. I was going to ring you last night, I forgot. Love new Brandon for bobflavin. Yes, it's good, isn't it? It's really good. Your man took my picture, which is a picture that was taken of me in Athens, in Greece, by the sales and marketing manager for Range Rover. And I'm standing on a plinth with first, second, third. Beside me is Michael Sheridan, and Caroline Kidd is on the other side of me. And just the way I stood came out nicely in that picture, and I've used it ever since as sort of a branding thing. But your man turned into a cool branding yoke as well. Zach is here, Irish runner. Dan Blake. God, there's a lot of these that are hopping in right now, boys. We're doing nicely. I still have that problem, YouTube. Hello, YouTube. Does anyone actually home these days? Concurrent viewer stays at 0, so I have no idea actually how many people are actually here at this moment. But anyway, it makes no difference. It's okay. I'd still talk to just one person, which is the way this started. Irish runners here. Dan Blake, Derek Norris. Come on, Derek, good to have you. You changed your profile picture. Smithy, good afternoon, Bob. Loving the crap weather today. Yeah, I can't that out loud, it's too early to stream. Jason Stevens, afternoon everybody. Brian O'Donnell, hi Bob and gang on his wet crap Sunday day. Yeah, I know, it's just rubbish, isn't it? I know, but the worst part is in the Republic right now, we're all locked down. We can only go 5 kilometers from home, and like, so the rain isn't making a whole lot of difference. We wouldn't have went out anyway. It's frustrating. People are getting very frustrated with the whole thing, I think, and they're not seeing the value of this lockdown. So they don't feel like they're getting involved in what we were the first time. We're all in this together, flattening the curve. All those messages are kind of lost at the moment, aren't they? Andy FX7 says, I assume, Bob, you will be the first to queue to buy Shane Ross's book. Sure, he needs a few quid. Sure, what can he teach you as the Minister for Transport? He didn't even get himself elected again. That's how bad it went for him. And our current Minister for Transport isn't exactly doing the greatest job in the world, is he? With tax going up, VRT going up. We still don't know. We still don't have any detail behind what he did and what he was doing, or what's after happening in the last budget. We've had next to no communication ever since, which is kind of weird, isn't it? See, Eric Watcher's having to work already. Jeez, you think he'd take a day off, wouldn't you? He's in there with the band hammer, hitting people in the head, deleting messages. Anyway, we'll move on. Be okay. I'm not even going to look at that message because it looks like someone was spamming the channel. Greetings, Bob, from Minsk. Good man. Derek Kell is here as well. Stuart McHugh, do you have the new Kia Sorento scheduled, Bob? I have, and I had. It was scheduled for, is it this week? I think it was this week. I'm supposed to get the Sorento. So we've had to reschedule for when the lockdown ends, somewhere in November, I think, when it's over. I know it's meant to be over the first week of December, November, whatever the worst weekend next thing is. So I have it booked in at some stage, along with a proper drive of the Honda E as well. So there's a lot going on at the moment. But yeah, I've seen the Sorento up close, 5+2 American style. You're right, Stuart. It looks really impressive from the outside. I mean, if I was to guess at it, you'd never guess it was a Kia. You'd probably think it was some sort of what do you call that American brand? There's a massive trucks that they have as well, like a Chrysler or something. You know, it looks very Americanized, but very big, and I think it will actually sell well for them, because Sorrento never really did. People bought Sportage in this country, didn't really go Sorrento and stuff. So that should be interesting when it actually comes out for sale properly, whether people actually go that size or not, because it is very big. Derek Cal reckons that James Bond actually ruined Aston Martin. The connections did over the years, as it slowly wore on, and we seemed to not get away from Aston Martin when it came to James Bond after a while. You know, it was in every shot, every scene. And then when Pierce Brosnan, I remember it made bloody headlines across the world when Pierce Brosnan had a BMW as a Bond car, and it went wild, and it just wasn't having it. No, you can't have that. Can't be doing that now. And it went back to Aston Martin again. Dan Blake, thinking of getting a Volvo S40 2008 or 09 1.6 diesel. Does anyone know if they're reliable? Volvos are pretty reliable. The problem is, when a Volvo goes wrong, if it does go wrong, it tends to be very complicated to fix. There's a lot of safety equipment. Had a lovely conversation the other day with a current Volvo owner, who was an XC90 and went to change the taillight. Taillight wasn't working one day. He went out and noticed the taillight wasn't on. He rooted around the car to see if he could find a way to get in at the bulb of the thing. Couldn't do it. Couldn't figure out how to do it. So he went down to the main dealership, and came in to get the taillight fixed. And do you know how much it was? You need to lie down for this one. €700 for an LED taillight. You can't change the bulb. You change the whole thing, the whole structure, the housing, everything has to be changed. So €700 for a taillight, compared to what I used to sell taillights for €1. I mean, a little bulb, a stop and tail, or bulb 380, or any of those bulbs are like €1, €1.50 at most, and now it's €700 for a taillight. So think about that when you're buying your new, up north to date car, which usually be okay in your 2008, 2009. I think they're just fairly standard bulbs in that, but the engines are pretty good. 1.6 diesel did give some trouble on the timing and gaskets and stuff, so just make sure all that's done, and you should be alright. Hellhound is here. Hey up, Bob, the flavonites of the world. Hope you keep them sane and well. Sane so far, not too sure about well. I have to find out if the whole world is going to die. It seems like we're running through chaos after chaos after chaos every single week, which is okay. We'll get there. Wonder what this month has in store for us, because now this is the 1st of November, isn't it? It is the 1st of November, lads. It's only you want to get your skates on if you're looking for presents, by the way, for Christmas time, because you've only got November and then like half of December. And seeing as this year a lot of people are going to be shopping online, you want to be careful that you're able to get stock of anything. And on the flip side of that, a lot of things are actually just not in manufacturing. As factories close down, they're still trying to gear up again, so there'll be a bit of shortage of stuff. And then nobody knows to have a job as either. It's the other part of that. Gary Mills reckons that best Bond ever was Sean Connery. Yeah, I think he was. I think if you look back at some of those Bond movies from back then, they're of their time, and I'm sure in certain sectors of the world they'll never show them again, because they're kind of sexist and kind of, you know, aggressive, and you know, there's an element of people apologizing for behavior back then now, as if we had any guidance over the behavior of someone in the 60s when we weren't even born. But we have to apologize, we're going to show it now. But they're like the classic of movies of the time. Certainly they're classic of the movies. Stuart says, I had no idea what it said at 11:45 a.m. It was so funny. It must have been hilarious though. You said it, didn't you? Stuart McHugh. What did you say? You downshifted or something at speed, something like that. It was funny. I thought it was funny. Yeah. Derek Cal says numbers are dropping. Numbers have been dropping since we went into lockdown, but unfortunately we still have numbers rising in certain places. Like, they haven't really fallen in Dublin really that much. Obviously, being a city, 5 kilometres in Dublin is one side of the city to the other. Like, it's not really a great lockdown. Online Bob, it's 2020. What's online? I missed that part. I hate when I catch up on something that's half of another message. William Hayes says you can buy them in Dunn's. I got stuff this morning. You can buy socks in Dunn's. You can't buy them in Tesco's. What? Where did that happen? Right, we'll have to make a trip to Dunn's at some point then. This is terrible. It's funny what's open and what's closed though, isn't it? You know, when you walk around the place and you realise that there's tons of stuff that's closed and there's tons of stuff that's open, you wonder why some things are open, why some things are not closed, which is kind of weird. Eric Coyne, hey Bob, love the videos, thank you. Bought a Golf R on the 1st of February this year and only 3 kilometres done since purchase. Need these lockdown lifted. Well, you know, you're depreciating slower, you're putting less mileage up, but you're right, yeah, we really need to. I mean, going for a drive If you're just going, I went for a drive the other day. In a 5 kilometre radius, you can't go very far. So it's a bit of a pain in the ass. Socks and jocks available in Tesco Minute. Tesco the other night in Portlaoise had them all fenced off and closed. I even tweeted about it, and the toys, everything. What's this about competition? Yes, okay, competition. We're almost there. It's 10 past. We might as well go for it, while we're at it. I am offering a competition to you guys of this channel. It is open to anyone to enter. I've done it in association with a competition company called Emerald Competitions, and it is a fantastic day out in Rally School Ireland. It's a good crack. You can drive all the cars, and I've talked to David up there in Rally School, and we have it all sorted. I have a little ad made up for it, so we do that ad right this very minute. Hi, my name is bobflavin, and I have a brilliant competition for you. I've teamed up with Emerald Competitions and Rally School Ireland to give you the best day out, a day out you will never forget. The total prize fund of this is €600. That's for 2 people for 1 day in Rally School Ireland. It's only going to cost you €10 to enter. Now, I'm telling you right now, this is going to sell out really, really fast, and there is only 95 tickets. The link is down below in the comments. As soon as it sells out, the draw will take place, and 2 lucky people will be heading up to Rally School Ireland to spend a day racing around the track. Tickets are only €10. That's €5 each, because the prizes for 2 people are on the track for the day. So get your friends and family to enter this, because there's only 95 tickets. Once they're gone, it's over. We're going to draw that as soon as we possibly can. So this will happen very, very quickly. Really, seriously, click the link down below. The very best of luck to you, and I hope you actually win. And if you do, I'll see you on the track. Right, we're back. I hope that wasn't too loud. It seemed too loud halfway through. But that is available in the comments down below. The very first comment is a link to that competition if you want to enter it. It's only a tenner. There's only 95 tickets. It's not going to be a big, long, run-out thing. This will be sold out very, very quickly for you guys. So get involved. You're the first ones to hear about it, really. TikTok have it as well. I'm going to put up an Instagram later on and Facebook after that. So you have a chance now to get an entry before they're gone. It's only a tenner, like I say. It's worth £600. It's for 2 people for the entire day. So you can go up there and spin donuts and act the balls and do whatever you want to do. And Dave is full aware that I'm going to be there for him, and I'm going to be sending him some for. So totally, it's just 2 people for the day, and if 2 of you club together with a fiver or family of 4, whatever it is, trying to get it, you have 2 people going up there for the whole day. That's 2 separate drives. Okay, so that's 2 doing everything twice for 2 people. Brilliant work. Check the link in the comments and go for it. You'll also find in the comments other links for other stuff as well. If you want to look through any one of them, they're all ways of supporting the channel to make sure that we continue to make money while the lockdown happens and we can't do anything else. I will get there. It'll be alright. Stuart McHugh, new t-shirts. I assume they have Dirty Diesel, Heavy Breathing, and Captain Stupid Head, Chef Lab. Some of them are on them for sure, yeah. I'm going to guess Speed, Progression and Observation is one of them, that's for sure, because I've said that about 6,000 times in the last couple of weeks. Captain Stupid thing is coming up as well. Yes, that is definitely going to be on it. Dirty Diesel I might do as well. Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. We'll see if we can get that one done. But I want like 4 or 5 of them anyway, at least. Not ones with my face on it, just t-shirts that I think associate with here that people would actually want to wear. Who wants to wear somebody's face on their chest? Like Ryan Gleason, what do you think of 2013 VW Polo as a first car? Good car if you keep it down to the 1.2 litre petrols. Quite good. It's a nice little runabout of a thing. It's pretty young. Like they're well equipped and well spec'd. You'd be fine with that car as a first car. John Cross is 120 viewers, 196, 207 is what it says on the screen. See, it pops on every once in a while and then disappears, and then it says the chat rate is 0. Weird. Like 1,000 people have already watched. Isn't that weird? So it's still racking up through the all style and no socks. I have no idea what's online is 2020. No style. After missing where I was now. Hold on. Coming back, looking at the new Ford Focus is Alex Theodore. Ford Focus at the next new car, but 1 litre engine doesn't appeal for the long term. I'm nervous of EcoBoost currently. Those little 1 litre engines put into a bigger car like a Ford Focus, or even a 1 litre engine that goes into like an Octavia or something. They're great to drive around in. Will they last 10 years? I don't know. that's a big ask, 5 to 10 years from now, will those little turbos have to be whipped out and new ones put in stuff? There's an awful lot of stuff, like there's a lot of complications going on in there. So I'd be very nervous of recommending someone to buy a Ford Focus with a 1 litre EcoBoost in it. Ford do good diesels, they do good big petrol engines as well. And I'm not a big fan of the Ford Focus. I think it looks a little, it's a challenge. The looks are a challenge, I'd say. So there's a lot to choose from in that range, but I think Ford Focus is probably one of my least favourite looking cars. Right now, Seat Leon is right up there. I think it's a very good car. And there's a lot going on there too. Electric cars, the ID3 looks really good as well. Prices are going to drop on those electric cars as well. I've been talking to some electric car manufacturers, and they've been reassuring me that we're going to start getting a little drop off in some of the numbers, which would be nice. Hopefully they won't kill us on the price of petrol and diesel for a while. Mick Mulcahy's here, which is good. Weirdly, I smell toast. Not a sign of having a stroke, no. Just thought I'd say that. I read that online the other day. Josh D111. Hey Bob, I'm thinking of importing a Chrysler Delta from the UK. It's a wise decision. Not many left on the roads here. There's a reason not many left on the roads. There's two reasons. One, we didn't sell many of them. And two, they rust. They do rust. And it's not that they give trouble, but they do get little chips of rust in them. So really check your car. You're not going to find one for sale in Ireland. So you're going to have to import that. Check the VRT rate. And don't forget there's a NOx tax now that you can't check before you bring in. That's the problem. So I could add like $1,000 or more to your car unless you know what you're doing. See if a dealer would do a work for you. Some dealers in Ireland will actually import a car for you and give you the total price. Like, there'll be a little profit in it, but it's a lot easier for you. Bobby, you going to review the Audi e-tron GT? Yeah, but not until December, I think, is when I'm going to get that car. Just because lockdown has pushed it all back again 6 weeks. I'm not getting any press cards. I currently have a Peugeot 508 PHEV. Phenomenal machine, brilliant yoke, but I'm stuck with that till the end of lockdown, and I don't think I'm going to be changing that between now and then. Although a few sneaky phone calls here and there has turned up that there is cars that I can get here and there. We'll see what they are though. William Bellingham, hi there Bob, good afternoon to you all. Hello William. Mick Daly's here as well. Martin Murphy, hi Bob. Internet hero, thanks. Martin here. What do you think of stop start function in cars and traffic? Is it good for the engine? Does it really save you fuel? Cheers mate for you on this. Martin, two things happen with stop start. One is there's an old version of stop start that actually use your starter motor to restart the engine the whole time. That's pretty hard on your engine. It's pretty hard to start a motor as well. And tests suggest that unless the car is stopped with the engine off for like 90 seconds, you're not really saving it in any way in the first place. So at a traffic lights where you're stuck there, you're not going anywhere, that's grand. But this constant stop, start, stop, when you're just shifting forward a foot or two in traffic, it doesn't do any good, and it's just using petrol line. It's actually using more, and that came from Wattcar, which is pretty trusted. They're pretty savage on their view stuff. So that'd be worth looking at. But the only problem with the stop start that I find is the vibration. It drives me absolutely spare. The vibration of the car starting up and slowing down, stopping and just does it the whole time. And some cars stop when you're still rolling, which is a bit of a pain because it knocks off the steering as well. When you're still rolling forward in traffic and the engine's not started. So it's kind of weird. I tend to disable it a lot, even though you're not really supposed to. It's there for CO2 emissions, but I still end up just being annoyed by it most of the time, more than anything. Dynamic frame, hello Bob, looking forward to car of the year reveal. That's coming. I'm not going to reveal the winner this year, but it's a huge reminder for you, if you have the email, to get your answers in right now. I can tell you right now that there's two cars that are standing out on their own are equal. It's a draw right now this minute. That's where it is right now, and I'm awaiting 2 votes, so that it's only going to come down to one of those 2 votes is going to vote for those 2 cars, and it's going to drive it over the edge. That'll be the Sunday Service Viewers' Choice Car of the Year, and that's the one that we're winning. I'm actually designing trophies for it, proper trophies. We're getting them made in Pleasant Dublin. Is making up trophies for us, so we'll have proper trophies to give out to the car companies who win. Of which to be an award from me, so the cars that I've driven over the year, I'll pick my best one, you guys get to pick one, and then we have a van of the year as well, so it'll be 3 awards in total. I don't do vans, but you guys do, because you all vote on vans as well. Aidan McLaughlin, just heard the news that MG is coming to the Republic of Ireland, correct? Through Joe Duffy, I think. Good size SUV electric, beat all the big guys. First estate car coming 2021, all electric as well as petrol diesel range. Thoughts? It's good to see competition. That's exactly what we want. I think MG is a precursor to the rest of the Chinese groups coming. I think that's what's happening there. I think really that there are other Chinese brands who are very interested in the European car market, have never really intruded here, like Brilliance or Dongfeng, or there's loads of them. There's so many of them out there. And all of them now have pushed towards electric over the last few years. So I think they will come on the back of that, and it'll give us good choice in the market, but the market's going to be a very, very tough competitive place. And, you know, if you're a car company, knowing that 10 to 15 electric car companies are going to turn up from China and just set up a pitch here in Ireland or England, the UK, France, wherever it is, it's going to be a difficult place to do some operations in. But it's good to see competition. I actually kind of like the look of that MG. I've seen there's one here in Portlaoise, and I'll be driving one in a few weeks' time as well. Eric Watcher, proving you're a man of many talents, TikTok tutorials. Well, people keep asking for stuff, so I'm ended up doing cooking tutorials. I was asked to do a shaving tutorial, service tutorial, servicing your own car, that sort of. It's all people keep asking, and you just go okay. And TikTok seems to just hoover it all up. I mean, it just seems to want to continually promote the channel, because it's always on the For You page for some reason. Hopefully that won't change either. Andrew Tully, think the Sorrento is called a Telluride or Tellur in the US, basically a US car. I still love the look of it. It looks deadly, doesn't it, though? I think it looks deadly. Will we see if we look one up for the crack? Kia Sorrento. I spelled it incorrectly. That was thick. I can't spell me. That's from the Kia website. Can I change over to do that? Window capture. I have to hang on, just talk amongst yourselves a minute. There it is, yeah, right. Coming along now, and that has audio input. Okay, cut. There. That's what it looks like. Savage looking yoke, I think. I love the long line across the front. It really does look well. It doesn't look like a Kia. Like, it looks like a proper car. You know, a real sort of interesting. Look at the back of it though. I mean, that thing will really cut the mustard on the screen. I like that. Very butch, very big, and that's that's where we're back to. That looks good, doesn't it? I think that's kind of nice. Where are we? Thanks for the info on the Volvo. No problem at all. Anytime, my man. Everybody, please click the like button. It's really helpful when you do that, because then YouTube is kind of cheated into paying attention to you. But you're not telling your friends you like the channel. So okay, keep that to yourself. You know, mental health and all that. You don't be telling people that you're watching me on the screen. What are you watching? Some women doing dances? No, I'm watching Bob Flavin talk about cars. Oh hey, says Arabella. Hello. Derek, have 17 grand to spend on a used SUV. Any advice about 2 grand a year as an alternative? Or 20 grand a year, or do you have an alternative? I don't really do prices of used cars because I don't sell used cars, so I'm not quite aware what 17 grand is going to get you, unless we done deal it all of a sudden, which probably won't work out so well. No, I don't know what you'd be doing. Used SUVs, there's tons of them out there in that price range. Everything from Qashqais all the way through to like Dacia Dusters and stuff, which is where I would look if I was looking in that kind of money, because you're going to get a very modern Dacia Duster, but it's fine. It's a good car. Sean Farrell, hey Bob, have you gotten used to the Peugeot now that you have been stuck with one for a few weeks? No, I still the little steering wheel aggravates me when you're. Now I tell you what's really good about that Peugeot 508. It really is remarkable. The turning circle, honest to God, the thing can turn right at an angle, like it's just, and it's gone. Really, really good turning circle. That's one of the most remarkable things about it. And I love the tech, and I like the gearbox, 8-speed automatic gearbox. Active cruise control is deadly, but still that little steering wheel does just get on my nerves as we drive around, particularly when you're manoeuvring around or when you're driving on a motorway. But then I'm not driving a motorbike, so I don't care. Sean Keane, well Bob, what's the story? Command Sean, good to have you. Stuart McHugh, yes, forgive me father for I've downshifted aggressively. That was the comment. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah. Deadly comment. Love that. We're climbing, we're alright, it's okay. It'll be, people will come and go throughout the day. What are we into already? See, we're already half an hour in, like, so we're booting along. If you have questions, ask. If you come over from TikTok, then welcome. Tony Amara, 2009 events is past the NCT yesterday. Happy days. Lovely. See, they're reliable old yokes. My yoke passed 2006 past the NCT, and I do literally nothing to it. Just turn up and give the car. That's it, then to go back and do it. Do you think schools should stay open? Well, according to what the NEFID was saying when the schools were open and we went into the lockdown, they said it wasn't thing to worry about, that they weren't a place that was spreading the virus. So why wouldn't you reopen them? I think they will stay open, yeah. You grind the country to a complete halt if the schools close. And the reason you grind it to a complete halt is because parents can't go to work when their kids are off. And if you have a household like with 5-6 kids in it and they're not going to school, domestic violence rises. People do nothing at home, they stay in bed all day. There's all kinds of things go wrong. The societal impacts of school closing is huge. And then if you restrict the movements of your kids, so they don't meet their friends, they don't talk to their friends, they can't, it starts to wear people down very quickly. So I think the schools should stay open as long as they're not spreading the virus. Simple as that. Will's channel reader, who the hell are you? That's a bigger question than that, Will, is who the hell are you? Which is the more important part. I didn't come to your gathering, you came to mine. But welcome. If you want to stick around, you can, there's no problem. Don't forget that everyone like you when you good man Eric always remembers these things. I terribly remember these things. Will you be there if we win? Depends when you're going to go. Well, I'll have to be notified obviously when you're going to be there, but if I can make it, I certainly will. I've already arranged with David and a team up in Raleigh School to go up and have a look at some of their new machines that they're making up there. They're making some new bits and pieces, and to go up and have a little roar about for a while in some cars. I love Raleigh School. It's good fun. It really is great fun up there. It's a family business. It's been run up there for years, and they fill up their books, and they hope they're going to, and they've been closed again now. And they have plastic things between people when they're driving along. It's just an incredible little thing that they've done up there, and it's really good crack. And they're such nice people, and they're great cooks, and it's a lovely day out, And you can be there for a tenner. Just enter the competition down below. Just enter. There's only 95 entries, so you've a really good chance of winning it. I wouldn't have, and I've done all the checks on the companies, and I made sure everyone's okay. So you have my word. I wouldn't have put my name to this unless I thought that Emerald competitions were 100%. So if you want to enter it, go for it. It's only a tenner. I hope you win. Honest to God. And if whoever wins, if we can arrange a date that I'm free, because it's quite a journey for me to get there, but if we arrange a date when I'm free and the boys up there have the place open, I'll come up with you and I'll meet you on a day. Limo Cotter says, Bob, do you think to be think the arseholes of the road? I hear differing opinions. Some say BMW drivers, Audis. I just think the whole roads are littered with people who can be just as much of an arsehole as certain drivers. I don't think it's a brand really particularly, but I think a certain kind of person wants to buy a certain kind of car, and some of those will be people who are a bit nasty and a little bit more obvious. Of course, you don't notice someone driving around so much in a Kia or a Ford as you would someone driving around in a Land Rover. You feel imposed upon because that's the nature of the car. The car looks like a car that's putting pressure on you, and to drive even remotely close to you, then you're in trouble. I find most van drivers would be much higher up the list of arseholes than people who drive Audis, to be honest with you. If I get tailgated, it's 9 times out of 10 it's a white van. If I see somebody on the phone with a phone up to their head, 9 times out of 10 it's a white van. So I don't know where that comes from, but it just seems to stick in my mind. Not saying that all van drivers are bad around. Brian says everyone's who's not a professional driver. Yeah, anyone who's not a professional driver can be bollocks on the road as well. Sean Keane, what's the clothing company you're working with? That's a good question. I'll tell you in a second. Hold on, because I was talking to them this morning. Giddy Goat Clothing down in Kerry. They're a nice bunch of guys. I'm working with a fella on TikTok as well. We're kind of exchanging names and numbers. A young guy called the Kerry Cowboy is on TikTok, and he got a connection down there to make TikTok type t-shirts, and a few other TikTokers that are using the same group. I've checked the quality of the product. It looks good. And once the quality is good and it doesn't work out to be too expensive, it's still going to be like 20 quid for a t-shirt, but it's really good, high quality cotton. And the company logo and stuff is quite nice. They can do whatever I want to do. So they're more than happy to get engaged, what really annoys me about Teespring is I have to design the t-shirts, I have to put the thing up on the page and I have to lay them out, and it's very awkward. It's not professional. It's like drag and drop stuff like you would do with an ordinary piece of paper, and that's where Teespring kind of falls down. And the quality's okay for Teespring, but the price in Ireland with VAT and shipping and everything else becomes just prohibitively expensive. So it should be okay. What's the age for competition? I don't know, Limo Cotter. You'd have to check to make sure it's not 18 and above, but the driving can be done from 13 and above at Raleigh School. They're more than capable of bringing young drivers. I think it's 12. Is it 12 or 13? I'd have to ask Dave. I'm not sure who can drive, but I think your ma or da would have to enter the competition on the site because it's gambling, isn't it? More t-shirts and sessions. Riki Bora. That'd be a good one, actually. No such thing as the front fog lights. Do as I say, not do as I do. Undertaking is illegal. I love it. Yeah, they're all good ones. I was warned that if I give people too many choices of t-shirts, they won't be able to make up their mind which one to buy. So we'll bring out a range, and then we'll bring out another range later on and see how we do it. What year is the Leon you have? 2006. Ancient. Like nearly 16 years old. I'm now starting to consider just holding on to the Leon until it's 20. Because then it's a classic. Can you imagine one owner from new and now it's 20 years old? I could still only get 4 or 5 years away now, so I could easily let the car just drip on there doing another few 6,000 kilometers a year like it does. Or right now, nothing, zero, sits there outside the door gathering dust. Let's bring him for a bit of a drive. The old engine would need a turnover every once in a while. Steve Blair, afternoon Bob, driving around the northeast of England listening to Bluetooth audio, good crack. You see, that happens a lot as well. A lot of people who listen in. If you look at the viewership versus the people who actually comment, the viewership is way higher than the comments, which is cool. But if you got a question, hit me with it, baby. Mark Torres made love the James Bond BMW 7 Series. The following model looks horrific. Yeah, that's true. I was working in a local BMW dealer, collection, delivery, driver, second-hand car sales. Perhaps 7 Series suddenly became very cool. It's true. That is true. Literally, the 7 Series became cooler. Well, actually, all BMWs, even the Z3. If I remember correctly, didn't Pierce Brosnan drive around the Z3 as well? Anyway, that's future collectors. I don't know what it is. Brendan Nulty entered the competition. See, tickets are going to sell out really fast. I got loads of messages on TikTok as well about people buying out the competition. There's only 95 tickets, so if you want to buy one, I'd get in quick. It's only a tenner, but there's only 95, so you will see who wins it after a while. We're going to announce it obviously here, and Emerald Competitions will announce it as well on Facebook. But the competition will go out later on Instagram, and will go out later again on Facebook, which will be the last place to go out. And then Emerald Competitions will do it themselves on Facebook. So, but that little video is just my hookup with them. I thought it was a really good competition. We'll have more. We hope to have more competitions coming up with Emerald Competitions soon. If we can, we're going to give away a car. No, just tell you that now, straight off. Let's find one first. Sean Keaton, how long was it when you did the Toyota Land Cruiser review? Jeez, I don't remember. I remember doing a blue Land Cruiser, which is a while ago. Was that 2015 or something like that? I forget now. It was a while back anyway. If you in YouTube just search Bob Flavin Land Cruiser, you'll see it'll pop up to the top anyway. In McLaughlin, hi Bob, can you check Knox providing you have V5C tax book? I'm not sure about this new Knox thing that's coming in. Dealerships have been talking about it a lot, but I haven't imported a car from the UK, so I don't know how you go about checking the Knox tax system. I'm not aware of it yet. You might see someone in the comments might answer that question for you. Brennan Duffy, why is everyone retracting their message? What did you all do? Did you all say something nasty and then went, no, better not do that? Afternoon Bob and gang, hope everyone has good week. Competition entered as well. Paul O'Connor, where's the link for the car of the year? It's in the comments. I can't put it here publicly because it'll be public for everybody to see it then, but it's in the Sunday service membership thing for YouTube, so you know where the comments are. It's in there. I'll put one up again for the last shot. Just somebody has to drive it over the edge because it's so close. So you put a hair between the two cars now. Peter Ucart, hi Bob, all is deadly. Mark Turner Smith says, I think my mum summed it up well about passing of Sean Connery. Woman of the world would never be the same again with such an icon gone. Well, yeah, he did have some accusations of wife beating against him back in the 70s, and he gave an interview once upon a time as well where he said it was okay. He said if the situation needed it, he would slap a woman, he would hit a woman to stop a conversation. If she wouldn't, I remember reading or seeing it before he died. It was on YouTube, I think it was on TikTok as well, but if she wouldn't stop at him, in other words, he'd have to hit her a slap, like calm it down a bit. So he got a lot of flack for that over the years, and he was disowned by Scotland because he went off and endorsed a Japanese whiskey, said it was better than Scotch whiskey. Of course, then that didn't work at all for Scotland. But he wasn't a man, in fairness to him, he wasn't a man of Hollywood. He didn't court that thing much. He lived in Greece, and he lived in the Bahamas. And a brilliant headline from RTE was, he passed away in the Bahamas in his sleep. That's very James Bond, isn't it? Passed away in his sleep in the Bahamas. It was good. I loved what Sean Connery did. Sean Connery played Sean Connery in everything, right? So even when he was playing the Irish policeman in The Untouchables, he still played a Scottish man, essentially. Just called himself whatever it was in that movie. Good movie, actually, Untouchables. I like that. What car released in the last 5 years would I buy? Multiple ones. There's some really good cars in the last 5 years. Really has. There's some really turkeys as well. But there's some really good cars in the last 5 years. Like M3's really good. The Toyota Corolla has been really good. The newer ones, particularly the estate version of that. The Kia e-Soul, Kia Exceed, they were pretty good as well. Land Rover Discovery is pretty good. There's a hell of a lot of cars in the last 5 years have been really good. Golf GTI and any of those those performance cars, Cupras, they were really good as well. The Mad Ant, what car makers over the last decade for you has been the one that improved the most? For me, it's Hyundai, Kia, although I think Peugeot had really come into it since 2010. Hyundai, Kia started at such a low point. Their early cars were so crap that it wouldn't have been very hard to improve them. Like if you look back to Hyundai Pony or anything like that, which would have been, it's a few years ago now, but they've come along very quickly and they were able to get forward very fast, which is exactly what you want them to do. But for me, the one that's really improved very well since 2006, which is when I bought my car, my Seat Leon, is Seat. They've done such a good job, and so has Skoda, to really get up there and compete with Volkswagen, which is their parent company, which they're not really supposed to be competing with, but they managed to do it all the same. Kia and Hyundai will be in there as well, yeah, for sure. Jaguar Land Rover has done a really good job making their cars look very pretty, and Volvo has severely increased over the last decade their terms of quality, but their price has gone up quite a lot to compensate for that. So there's no such thing as a cheap Volvo anymore. Dynamic Frame says, my Leon Cooper has annoying stop-start coming to a stop outside my house. It cuts off the engine about 3 miles per hour and cuts back in when I come to a full stop. I turn it off, such a pain. That used to happen to me as well. With the I had a problem with the Skoda Octavia, I think it was. You'd be rolling up into traffic, coming up towards traffic lights or anything, and you put your foot in the brake and it gets down to about 3-4 kilometers an hour and it cuts out, and then the steering's gone as well, and everything's gone, like the whole car just turned off. And I think they've corrected that now, but I found it very annoying. I'll find that car of the year thing. It's there somewhere. It's in my comments somewhere anyway. In where I post comments, I posted a link so only you guys who put money into the Google stuff will be able to see it. Des Chambers, link for car of the year. You're not, if you're a Patreon member, it's over on Patreon. If you're a channel member over here on YouTube, it's in the comments of the channel membership things. But they're the only ones allowed to vote. I'm sorry, because they support the channel so much. They get a chance to vote on the car of the year of the channel as well. Your names will be on the list going out to the car company. So the car company will have a list of the people who voted and a list of not how they voted, just a list of people who voted, the membership people. Stuart McHugh, whenever you say talk amongst yourselves for a minute, it instantly transported to 4th year when the teacher was setting up the TV in the class and would literally descend the room into monkeys. You can see us all throwing little paper airplanes. That'd be funny. Funny if this was a two-way conversation. We could do that, on Zoom, by the way. That's what I was going to ask Jared Hewitt there in the comments, who's there, who runs my Zoom stuff. I must set this up with you. I want to set up a thing where we do a Zoom chat to get away from YouTube for a bit, so we can all see each other, which is the other part of that, because you guys come and comment, but I can't see any of it. Hellhound, are manual gearboxes a thing of the past now, and if so, why? They're not going to be a thing of the past. They're still more expensive. Manual or automatic gearboxes are still more expensive than manuals to build. But really, the reason that they're going is because automatic gearboxes become so smart. They can control the CO2 emissions better. They can control fuel economy better if they're automatics. Whereas the manual ones are unpredictable because humans are unpredictable. We never know whether you're going to rev high or rev low. You never drive the same way twice. So there's an element of that in the changeover to automatic. I don't know if it's going to be a big changeover, because like if you look at electric cars where we're starting to push forward electric, they don't have a gearbox at all. There's no gearbox in it, so it makes it, they're all automatic in that respect, in that there's just no gearbox. So between that, we're going to end up with a situation where people will not drive a manual anymore, and some people won't know how to drive a manual anymore, which is the other part of that. That's the scary bit, is that people are taking tests in automatic cars, which means you're not qualified to drive a manual. You won't get insurance for a manual if you don't have a license for a manual. So that's going to happen as well. But they're not a thing for the past for the next couple of decades. Once there's still petrol and diesel cars on the road, you'll find that manual cars will still sell, particularly the smaller ones. Like, where does the small electric car like the Honda E fit into that That's like 20 grand more expensive than a cheap 1 litre petrol, you know. So it's a big step for people to make to just go electric. Be aware who's talking, who's having the conversations about electric cars these days, guys. There's an awful lot of people out there getting involved because they smell money in it. There's people holding group chats and things, and people coming and going out of those chats, and they're being informed by people who sell stuff. Okay, if you think about buying electric cars, please check reviews everywhere, particularly from independent journalists of those electric cars. I'm not talking just about me. It doesn't matter what journalist you pick, they're independent and they don't sell the cars and they're not linked into selling the cars directly. Then check with those before you do it, because there's a shitload of information out there and there's way too much for most of you to understand, and a lot of terminology being used, and particularly when it comes to long-term driving of these electric cars 5-10 years from now. How are you going to feel then? Buying a second-hand electric car, there's a lot going on. Be very careful where you're getting information from and who's feeding it to you. If they're selling cars, you got to take it all with a grain of salt. Sorry, car dealerships, I don't mean to do you down, but it's your interest for people to buy cars, and I don't really care whether people buy cars. That's not my interest. That's not my problem. My problem is just reviewing cars. It's up to you guys to sell the cars. But if a dealership is leading the information about electric cars, then there's probably something wrong with the information that you're getting. Nissan are going backwards. Kind of. Nissan are very short of money because Renault drained an awful lot of it away. So it's very hard for them to develop new product when there's not enough money there to develop new product. So they have the Juke, but they can't really push it because they don't have the money behind it to actually push the Juke forward very hard. And they have the Leaf, but electric cars have moved on like that. Like overnight, the Leaf was here, and then suddenly everything else has moved to here, and the Leaf is still sitting back and wondering what happened. So the problem is they're being pulled back all the time because they can't develop product quick enough, and that's down to money. I have a real soft spot for Nissan. I quite like Nissan, but they do make some really crap products at times. Can't see the link for the competition. If you're not, it's not the link for the competition is in the comments of this video that you're watching right now. If you click expand on the thing or just look down underneath this video, you'll see the competition. If you're watching on television, it doesn't show you. You'll have to go to the channel separately. For some reason, YouTube, who really want everyone to put information in the comments and all, they want to do all that, but they don't actually allow you to look at the comments and things on a television. I know because I have an Amazon Fire thing downstairs and we're watching YouTube on it, but it doesn't show you any comments, nothing. It just shows you the video, and you're looking at going, this is television. What about the other bit, the interactive bit? As usual, YouTube forget about interactions. John Check, thank you. 0 to 60 in the family car is not a factor. Why would you want to lock your children in the back seat? What? Is that a question? Anyway, thank you for the super chats. It's very kind of you, but I don't know what that means. Why would you want to lock your children in the back seat? I don't know what that means. I'm sorry, but thank you for the super chat. Very kind. Ewan Cronin, opinions on a Mercedes taking 7th in Constructors' Championship. I'm not aware of F1. I don't really pay much attention to F1. I haven't done anything really that much, so I don't know is the answer to that question. Footy Ferrari, any vids planned for this week? I have vids in the thing. I had a falling out with a hard drive here, decided that I wasn't going to play ball, and there it sat going click 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 for the best part of the week, and that's where all of the current videos were. So I had a little brain hemorrhage, sat here thinking about it, didn't know what to do to fix that, but what I ended up doing was downloading some software and installing it onto a laptop and making the laptop read the drive so I could copy it over. But it's really slow to copy, but I've recovered all the footage, so I will be bringing out videos this week. I have them all, thankfully, and nothing was lost, which is great, apart from the hard drive, which I fired over a wall. It's a freak out, so everything's backed up usually, but that one wasn't. Just this one time that I have stuff. So yeah, there will be plenty of videos coming out this week. We'll put out 2 or 3. Just had a problem with that bloody hard drive. Z3 but also Z8, which apparently awful to drive, but seriously Sub-Zero cool. Yeah, all those old Z cars were really cool. I always thought BMW did a great job with Z cars, and yet when you look at the cars now, they look weird. Like, they look strange. Very long bonnets and little tiny compartment in the back. It's very old fashioned, but they were really good to drive at the time. The Z3 was pretty good. Z8, don't know really what that was like. Do you remember the Z1 had the slidey doors up and down? Remember that one? Was that the Z1? I think that was called the Z1. That was Really interesting car. That's where BMW was going to be really good, but didn't really come around to it. It's 264 of you here right now. 272 of you right now. This is great. This is deadly. Don't forget to ask questions as well, boys. Don't worry. I'll get around to all your questions as I get through them all. We're going nowhere for about an hour and a quarter. So you have plenty of time to answer questions. Thanks for Sean Murray. How about will there be a big increase in new car prices next year? Yeah, but car prices have been it won't seem big because car prices have steadily gone up over the last 5 years. As WLTP, which was supposed to change the price of cars in one shot, was deferred year after year. So they deferred it and they put up, like every time a new car comes out, it goes up by about €1,500 every time, no matter what you do. Because if you look back across, I'm sure if any of you are on the press release rotation of things that comes in every once in a while, you'll see the prices attached to stuff. But if you go back across those old emails and look at the prices, you'll see every time the car came out, it went up by £1,500 and sometimes more. And that's just like a base model. So where's the 10 grand cheap car gone? Like once upon a time, you would have went out in your first car. If you bought a brand new one as your first car, it would be 10 grand. That would be a good first car. That doesn't exist anymore. They kind of start at 16 or 17,000 euro now for a basic, like, bottom range, whatever. They've taken away a lot of the small cars, a lot of the Seat Me, Skoda Citigo, VW Up, they're gone, more or less, out of the market. The new Yaris is out, but where's the new Yaris start? Nearly 20 grand, right? So, like, where do you go? That's a lot of money. That's a huge amount of money to be buying a car. And the problem is, it's all been hidden into PCP. PCP is responsible for a lot of what goes on right now for car prices because they're hiding it as being it's £200 a month, it's £300 a month, it's £800 a month. They're hiding it in a monthly fee, and then they're baffling you with the deposits and the get out fees and the clauses and all that stuff. You know, you're kind of being baffled on new car prices. So it will go up, and they'll blame it on two things. One is the change in VRT, which weirdly the change in VRT actually put the price of a top spec Volkswagen ID3 up by €1,500, which is a full electric car, but the top spec all went up. And you'll have a change of supply. The supply is choked. We have to put the price up. You know, there's not many cars around. You're waiting lists. They'll hide it into a number of things. You know. Oh, sorry, John. Check. Why would you want to lock down the back seat because of the G-force car? My kids never. No, my kids sit in the back of a car and I could floor it like an Audi RS7, and they sit in the back of the car and just look at their screen. That's it. They go, wow, that was fast. The only time I've ever seen him properly get a little kind of worried was when I had a Tesla Model 3, the performance model, and we did a fast takeoff, and they got worried because there's no noise. That's really it. See, the noises gives you a cue of how fast you're going, when the Model 3 doesn't give you any cue of doesn't give you an audio cue of how fast you're going. So there is an element of that kind of speed being pushed down in your chest, but they get used to it so fast. My kids don't know any different. They wonder why other cars are so slow. It's not that I'm a harsh driver usually. We do test cars, and the kids like that kind of speedy, not 60 time. But most fun I had in a car was bringing my daughter out for driving a Jaguar F-Type, because with the roof down, because you could have fun in that. Cold coffee, but it's still very nice. I mean, it's like cold coffee. I like cold coffee sometimes. You might need to unhide the comments section to view the competition link. Yeah, it might be there, but I did put it up as the top thing, so it should be sitting there on the top. I might actually check to make sure everything's okay on the channel, because YouTube sometimes goes, I don't like what you did there. We might have audio peeking out at me. It's right there. It's on the very top underneath the video. Big competition for Rally School Ireland Driving Day and Emerald competitions is attached to the side of it. So, yep, it's right there. You should be fine. Paul Brown says he's tuning in on Twitter. Thanks, Paul. Are you here? Ewan Cronin, opinions on Mercedes taking a 7. We did that. Kevin McCarthy, needed 4 wheel bolts for my 3 Series. BMW charged me €7 per bolt robbery. Well, in fairness, wheel nuts are actually quite expensive, particularly if they're particular wheel bolts that you can't just buy in a motor factors, because motor factors will be able to supply you most of that stuff, and they'll probably charge you less, but they won't be OEM. They won't be actual BMW ones. And I know, like in lock and wheel nut, because a mate of mine changed his, was €53 on a BMW for a lock and wheel nut, which I didn't think was extortionate. He had to drill one off. That's what happened there. He couldn't get it bogged up for whatever reason. He could put a key in it to get it off. You know, little keys to fit in. And I have one in my car as well, same thing, lock and wheel nuts. There's a slot on the VRT estimator for NOx calculation. Is there, Liam? I should look at this VRT calculator. Where's the VRT calculator? VRT calc. I should familiarise myself with the VRT calculator. Revenue online services are currently being made available. We are implementing. You've got to see this. This is where it gets funny. Look at that. This is the answer to revenue. Good luck to you now. We'll be back now. Enhancement to our service the 1st of November between 1300 and 1600. So just when we wanted to check, that's very convenient. That's very convenient, isn't it? Seriously, that's very convenient. There's a conspiracy theory. The minute I went over to have a look at it, what happens? They blocked me from seeing it, so I couldn't check. I have to have a check later on. That's very weird. Honestly, I don't normally go and check websites like that, but there we are. Revenue. So now, what do you think of the new Tarraco FR? I like what Seat's doing with Tarraco. Tarraco is one of my favourites of those off-road cars, and I know the competitors, the Skoda version of it, which is the Kodiaq, and both are very good, but I do like Tarraco. I do like the interior. Very comfortable car, just really comfortable on that end, on that part of the market. Now we do some FRs and Coopers on the way. A lot of stuff is coming out, and we'll see when they actually land if we can get a go at that stuff. But FR is, I still prefer just a straight out diesel one, to be honest with you. I find FR's suspension very harsh on all the cars. Liam Cotter, combined CO2 is your NOx. Combined CO2 is your NOx. Now, think about that one. That could get expensive really fast. Those all cheap diesels are now no longer going to be cheap. Put it that way. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, by the way, and there is a good competition underneath the chat right here on the site. If you look underneath, it's a day out, rally school, drive all the cars, have great crack. I'll hopefully be there, depends on the date, and you'll be able to spin around the cars all day long, and all you do is stick a tenner in the pot, and that's pretty much it. So it goes to Emerald competitions. It's a good competition if you want to join, get in there. But also underneath there is Noah, which you can also support the channel with. If you buy a subscription to Noah, that's €60 a year. Normally it's 120. You can do it that way if you want to. There's PayPal, there's Patreon. If you want to get a vote on Irish Car of the Year, become a patron or become a channel member here and submit a little bit of money every month, and you get a vote in the Irish Car, and the Car of the Year, not the Irish Car of the Year. It's the Sunday Service Car of the Year that you'll be voting on, which is done by this channel. So it's all good, join it up any way you want. I see Jerry Wicklow says, Kia tried to charge me 36 quid for a 12-inch rear wiper rubber. Got a no-name in Halford for €2 instead. €36 for a rear wiper, just a rubber part. Boys, that's getting expensive now. Honest to God. I can remember the horror stories over the years, particularly from main dealers have to do it in a certain way to comply with being a main dealer in the first place, right? So often main dealers are more expensive, not necessarily because they do more work, just because they have particular boxes to tick on the way through that they can only do it a certain way. So it ends up seeming more expensive, and it is physically more expensive, but it is physically more involved as well. So over the years, what they try to do is make it more difficult for you to do the work yourself in a DIY sense, like changing your wiper blades, changing the rear wiper blade, that kind of stuff they would have taken for granted. It's not until you buy a new car you realise you might not be able to do it on your own anymore, that it's not that straightforward. And even if you go back, you see a precursor to that back in the old Audi A2. That kind of square aluminium shaped Audi A2. If you lift the bonnet of that, you can only see the windscreen washer fluid. That's it. There's no other things to get at. You can't do anything to the car. You have to bring it to a dealership to get it fixed. That was the start of it. That's where it all started. Now they quit it immediately, but that's kind of where it started. Flavanite Disciple is here. Had a drive in a Vitara. Was disappointed with the general driving experience. Me too. I thought the Vitara was quite a disappointment. I think it looks okay on the outside, but kind of driving around it just felt like driving something from 1997, 98, kind of plasticky, black plastic interior, not very good infotainment system. The steering was really light, so light it just felt like you weren't really turning wheels, didn't really connect to anything, just felt weird. But then Suzuki is a very conservative company. They tend to go for conservative design, and they tend to go for very reliable things that are easy to fix, and that's kind of where Suzuki fits in my line. I've never driven the Jimny, but it looks fabulous. But that would be where I would put my money. I'd rather see looking out the window at something that's really, really cute than looking out at a Vitara. No, not only is it not great looking, but it's terrible to drive as well. That would drive me mad. Minsk Acura is spending a lot of advertising money in the US for the new ILX. Are you getting in Ireland, or do you have any thoughts? No, Acura's in Ireland. Doesn't come here. That's the luxury brand of Nissan, essentially. They're not. I don't think Acura is going to come over here. It wasn't even a built name. You see them once in a while on American TV, but you really don't. They'd have so much work to do to launch that brand over here. And luxury car sales, do we sell that many really? I know we look at Mercedes, Volkswagen, or Mercedes, BMW and Audi and those kind of ones as the luxury brands, but actually, like, they're not that luxury. The top end of them is good, but like, how many BMW 3 Series do you see lots about the place, or 5 Series? Like, there's a lot of them, so it'd be quite hard to launch a luxury brand in this country. I think you'd have a real problem with it. Stop-start cutting in too soon is a common issue on some Skodas for a time. I had to switch it off when I had my Superb. It was too dangerous at junctions. That's another thing. You know, when there's a little roundabout in Portlaoise here, just at the churches. We have a series of roundabouts, 4 of them in a row. Is it 4 or 3? Can't remember. So many of them, it's hard. I think it's 3 in a row. But coming up to one of them, there's a little small hill onto it. So you're parked on a very shallow hill start. You kind of have to think about it, because behind you is a pedestrian crossing, and if someone is sitting on top of the pedestrian crossing, their nose is in your boot, right? So they're very close to you. So if you do any sort of roll back, you're in trouble straight away. But what I found in Skodas was you'd be rolling up to that and you're ready to go on, you're ready to keep going, and what happens is the engine cuts out and you put your foot in the brake and then you go back to the accelerator, but the engine's gone off and the car just rolls. It was really annoying. And in certain situations, and I know it was about CO2, I know it was about getting their CO2 emissions down, but it was very, very annoying. So I feel your pain, Eric Roger. Definitely drove me up the wall when I had the Octavia, and one of the Superbs, I don't remember what year it was, but it really was very annoying. Brian McIntyre, which one? 3-year-old Lexus RS 450h or the new Toyota RAV4? I'd be happier in the RX 350h, to be honest with you. RAV4 is lovely, great car, but you're buying into Lexus and it's only 3 years old. That Lexus will go around the clock for you forever. So will the RAV4, but you're going to save money buying the Lexus. And you're going to get more equipment and a more luxurious drive, and it feels very good. It's a lovely car to drive, that RX 450h. A really nice car. I don't know about that one at all. Plus, fuel economy is pretty good in them Lexus. And people who buy Lexus tend to hold on to them forever. We have a few of those lads on the Sunday Service Facebook page who bought Lexuses forever and hold on to them for their whole life. So I have no problem recommending Lexus. But Toyota's going through a bit of change. There's a new car on the way called the Highlander into Ireland, and that's coming into Ireland, which is going to compete directly with the Sorento, as we were looking a few minutes ago. And that actually looks okay. I kind of like the look of the Highlander. I seen a picture of it on LinkedIn, and someone else sent me pictures of it here as well. So I think it looks really good. And go back up there, as that's shooting forward on me. Which one did it on? Eric He's on track. Stuart McHugh, really couldn't believe how EcoY edited that electric car comment from you. I was concerned to talk about e-scooters, but only if my opinion matched their agenda. Well, it's a TV show. TV shows have to fit a certain metric. They have to fit into a little pigeonhole of a thing. And when they don't. They have to be edited to do such. That's the main problem. That's the big difference between the internet and TV. It's why TV looked down its nose at the internet, because a lot of things get put onto the internet that would never make television. But the older generation that watches TV these days, like I noticed from TikTok, you mention a TV show and no one's seen it, but if you mention something on Netflix, YouTube, Apple TV, any of that stuff, people are on it like Flynn. Speaking of which, Apple TV, I have been watching Long Way Up by Ewan McGregor and Charlie Boorman. It is available now on Apple Plus. If you have an Apple device, you get 7 days free on the Apple Plus if you haven't used it already. So you'll be able to watch the whole thing in 7 days. But it's not finished yet. Just another episode came out, I think, last night. But totally bingeable. The views are fantastic. I'm only halfway up into Chile, I think, or somewhere like that. It's very, very good. Really good. Not as good as Long Way Round, but still very good. They're on 2 electric motorbikes, which are made by Harley Davidson, and they're bringing Rivian trucks, 2 Rivian trucks with them. And it's been nothing but heartbreak to have electric vehicles. I'm sorry to say, it has not helped the electric vehicle race, particularly in those kind of locations, because there's very few places to charge, and a lot of the time they're trying to charge from plugging into someone's home socket, which doesn't deliver enough current to actually charge vehicles, and then they're trying to charge in sub-zero temperatures, and the bikes can't charge. They're bringing the bikes indoors into houses, into hotels to try and charge them. It's cringy in a way. You kind of go, everybody says electric cars are the future, they're absolutely brilliant, but they don't work, and there's the problem. You're looking at it going, well, they're not working though, are they? And yet you have Ewan McGregor going, yes, of course, electric cars are the future. That's the problem, isn't it? Irish Runner says Fords have ads everywhere saying go electric. I know, and it's not electric car they're talking about. It's not wild. They're putting up ads for go electric absolutely everywhere, but they're talking about hybrids. What's going on? Like, calm down, lads. Calm down. Jared Hewitt says no problem. Or Zoom, Bob. Let's chat next week. Limit is 300 on the call. You can go breakout groups and polls. Reese, you're on, Jared. You're on. We'll give me a buzz, or I'll give you a buzz tomorrow, right? When we're all back to normal work stuff. And we'll see. I just have an idea that I've just opened up Zoom to 300 people, the first 300 through the door, and see what happens. Just sit there kicking them out like bouncers to get a few more, because my TikTok now is 60 something thousand followers, so it's getting out of hand. Size wise. Lovely people, but just it's huge. Do you need tax insurance for a tractor? You certainly need insurance. There is a agricultural tax. I'm not sure what it is, but I don't think it's very much, if it is anything at all. But you definitely need insurance and a license. But do you know the wild thing about Ireland is that a 16-year-old can drive a tractor on the road legally? 16. Like, do you know the size of a tractor? So, and we're not talking about little tiny Matthew Ferguson joke here. We're talking about any tractor, even like JCB ones. Have you ever done a drift course in Mondello? I have. I've done so many laps around Mondello, it hurts my brain. And the same for Rally School Ireland. Brilliant courses. If you ever want to learn a bit of car control, a bit of understanding how a car behaves under heavy pressure and heavy braking, heavy acceleration, any of that stuff, Rally School Ireland are absolutely phenomenal at that. The handling track they have, you'll be sweating after 2 or 3 laps in a car. The sweat's pumping off you. Mondello is a much bigger track, so you get higher speeds, but really even the higher speed ones, like I've driven everything, all the performance jokes, M3s, M4s, M5s, all those cars around Mondello, and you never get anywhere near the top speed. I mean, it's a brilliant track, but it's still not very high speed, but it's probably the best track in the country for a long lap. After lap 1 you're sweating, put it that way. But Mondello's brilliant, yeah, and as is Rally School. Either one of them will teach you drift. Rally School is probably better to learn drift in, because it's the same track. You're out there with everybody else. Alex Theodore, the alternative in my head to the Ford Focus is an i30 with a 1.4 engine, but it seems numb to drive. They all are. A lot of those hatchback cars are quite numb to drives. They're all a little bit that way. We used to have a great following of hatchback drivers. People used to buy a hatchback who wanted to have something a little bit cool, a little bit different, and handle pretty well. So Golf GTI and Coopers and all that sort of stuff. But what happened was they became the bread and butter of car companies. So they started just to make cars like fridges, just churn them out because people are buying that kind of car. And so people moved on and started buying small SUVs. Now they are the fridges of what's happening out there right now, which is small handy little SUVs everybody likes. Nile Power, any good with PS4s? If so, this tray won't take any DVDs, etc. No, I know nothing about PlayStations. I'm a PC gamer. I don't really play on PlayStation, so I know nothing about them. But if it's anything like old-fashioned DVD players, you have to kind of wipe the disc and put a disc cleaner in and all that stuff. I doubt it's the same these days, but that's what you used to have to do with the old DVD players and CD players. I was actually listening to a CD yesterday. Led Zeppelin, No Frontiers or something it's called. It was made in Morocco when they were wasted regularly, and it's brilliant. That's a CD I just found it the other day. We stuck in the CD player downstairs. Absolutely brilliant. If you're looking to get stuff off a clicking hard disk, I know, Paul. I plugged it in here and it's going click, click, click. I was sitting there going, oh no, because that's where there was 6 or 8 reviews sitting on that one hard drive, and I hadn't touched it in a little while. The hard drive is now gone, it's in the bin, and I never want to see it again. But it was actually a good hard drive. It was an older hard drive. It was fine, a physical hard drive, well, not SSD. But now it's on a backup and a backup of that again, so I can't lose them second time. Well, fingers crossed, touch wood, all that. Luke Gibbs, is automotive photography something easy to get into? No. Depends on your outlet. Good lad to talk to is Paddy McGrath. He's an Irish guy. He's been working for Speed Hunters for years. He does photography for a lot of the press cars I drive. He's done photography for me as well. He does some video stuff. He'd be a good guy to talk to. He's on Twitter. Paddy McGrath is his name. One of the best photographers anybody could buy for photographing your car is Paddy McGrath. If you can convince him into photographing your car, you'll never have any other photograph like that again. Really good. Very underrated. Dynamic Frame had a scary hard drive moment a few years ago. 3 terabytes of footage. Oh, and the hard drive stopped working, but got it by accident. Took about 24 hours to transfer. It was painful. Yeah. Problem is, it was clicking and clicking, but it took ages to get. You're sitting watching the taskbar filling, and you're hoping your thing doesn't go into shutdown mode or relaxed mode, and you're kind of going, please just stay. You're sitting there watching like an idiot, Did you get a chance to watch Long Way Up with that your thoughts? I did, Rory Kelly. Well, I've watched up to this point. I think I have 2 episodes left to watch. I think I'm halfway up South America, and that's as far as I've gotten along. But it's brilliant. I think it's a really, really good, and it kind of shows the problem, the gargantuan problem we're facing of electric cars. It is a very big problem, much bigger than people give it credit for. The good part is electricity is everywhere. The bad part is the infrastructure to deliver the electricity in the quantity we need for the bikes and cars and stuff of the future really isn't there yet. So while electricity is there, it's there in a dribble. Like people are browning out in an afternoon by turning on a generator. So what's after happening them at Long Way Up is they've had to call in a diesel generator to charge their vehicles in certain places. Now that totally defeats the purpose, obviously, of electric cars, bringing in a diesel generator. But that's it. But they've had to do it a few times. So I'd like that they're showing warts and all, that they're not just being nice to Harley Davidson, going, wow, your bikes are absolutely phenomenal. But the bikes do look very cool. I'd love to ride one. I'm not a big motorbike rider. I can ride motorbikes, but I don't have a license for it. But I'd love to ride one, see where the weight distribution, does it feel very low, does it feel like you're on rails the whole time, whatever way you're driving it, or does the pendulum effect take over and push the bike out, like understeers out because it's so heavy on the bottom. Dace Sandero is under 10 grand. Is it? We'll have to check this. DACI.ie. I accept. Of course I accept everything. Sure, what else have we done? Our range. Dacia Sandero starting RRP 11,750. So it doesn't look. You can look for yourself. There you go. Dacia Sandero, the smarter Super Mini, starting RRP 11,750, and Sandero alternative SE 75 or 100 quid a month. It's lovely. I love the Sandero. Don't get me wrong. I think Sandero is a really, really good place for people to start. If you're looking to come out of a 10-year-old car into something that's more modern, more new, then Dacia Sandero is it. But I still struggle to find out where the 10 grand and under car, the 99995 car, where the hell that's gone. It just seems to have disappeared. It used to be, the last one I know of that was 9,995 was the Seat Me. Came out a few years ago, and that was that cheap. I wonder if it even exists anymore. Have they gotten rid of it? Seat, new cars. No, it starts with a Beta, and it starts at 18,225. Let's look at that. I'll show you that. You see where car prices are going? This is Seat. There's the first one, a Beta, from only 18,525. They used to have the Seat Me here, which was 9,995. So car prices are gone wild, like. Bob, would there be any legal issue regarding working lights under amber lights and strobes on a van? I asked you on TikTok, but wouldn't send them here, so I am. Brian, while there isn't much of a problem with yellow, the problem is what you're impersonating sometimes. Gardaí have a problem with, because anybody can buy those yellow lights, so technically they're meaningless, right? So if everybody, like I can put a yellow light on my car and just drive around with it, if that's the case, and I have no reason whatsoever to have one. So the guards are very cautious about these yellow lights and stuff on your cars, while there wouldn't be any legal issue if they're hidden yellow lights. So if they're secreted into the bumper, which I think was your question on TikTok, secreted into the bumper, there's an impersonation issue. So they may think that, because some of those can be changeable in colour. If they're blue, it's completely illegal. If they're red, it's illegal, right? So that's the two things, because that's emergency colours. They're the two emergency colours. So that's definitely out. Yellow, depending on the circumstances you're in, depending on what you're doing and where you are and why you have those lights on, you need permits to close roads, and you need to notify the council and things if you're going to work and use these yellow lights. So it's very dependent on what's the interpretation of the guard on the time. So While there won't be directly a law on it, it may attract the attention you don't necessarily want to have. And it depends on the vehicle. Aidan McLaughlin, Mercedes stopping production of manual cars in the near future. Yeah, well, they never really did a lot of them in the first place. They didn't do a lot of manual cars. Almost everything in Mercedes was bought in automatic, so it's a fairly easy choice to make. Big fan of pure EVs. Very disappointed with Toyota and Lexus nothing in BEV. It's coming. Toyota's after announcing that they're making electric cars, full electric cars. So are Lexus. They've relented to some degree. They were pushing the hybrid all the way. They've relented a bit. I think they're going to bring out a new electric car sometime next year. Not a big change for them when you think about it. It wouldn't be that hard for Toyota to make a Corolla BEV without it being a compliance car. Really, it's big enough and already has a platform there where the batteries are located. But the batteries aren't very big in hybrid cars. But you're still hauling around 60 kg. Is it 60 or 65 kgs in a standard sort of Toyota hybrid? That's another person, a small person, but another person in the car with you. Seems I'm like 95 kgs as an adult. Okay, with lots of question marks. Okay. Demir, hello Demir. Stephen Byrne, well, Bob, opinion on 131 Hyundai i40 1.7 CRD. That's a common rail diesel. It's a good old car. Yeah, they're good. Look at those guards all drive around in those kind of cars. And they're reliable and they're absolutely driven into the ground. Amin, is Cooper cars coming to Ireland? Yep, they sure are. Cooper's going to be in all the Seat dealerships, and we're going to be getting a Cupra Formentor here as well fairly soon, I think. Dynamic Friend, thoughts on the Focus ST190 Eco Blue. I hate to see the word Eco Blue with the letters ST. There's something gone wrong there. You don't necessarily want ST or RS to be Eco anything or Blue anything, because that suggests that it's been turned down in some or another. So it'll be interesting to see what Ford do. Ford are a bit short of cash too, and they seem to have internal problems and internal struggles with amongst the company itself. Ford Europe, Ford England, Ford America all seem to want to do something slightly different from one another, and yet Ford America are pulling all the strings. So it's a kind of a weird one to see where they're going to go with that. But I'm looking forward to some of the ST stuff. I want them to do another Focus RS and make it just like the last one. I don't actually want them to change the other Focus RS. Is a great car. The Real Bob's a 64-bit taco. That's definitely me. Did you ever try the Rimac car C1 and C2? Do you know something about them? No, but I've watched Long Way Up to watch how the Rimac cars are going right now. And what was funny was 2 weeks before they were due to leave, they had created a body shell. That was the whole car. Wasn't ready at all. Not even close. No, but I haven't driven a Rimac before, no. Thomas Heidler. Sorry, Thomas. I'm butchering names today. Good morning, Bob. Just letting you know that I bought the reader you recommended. No charge for posting to Louisiana. Thanks. I look forward to getting it. That's good. Glad you did. Oh yes, that's another thing I want to show you as well. This thing, which I've left a thing in the comments, I think, down below. If I haven't, I'll put it in a minute. This is called Fixed, Fixd, right? This is an OBD2 reader. So if you have an OBD2 slot on your car, which is basically any petrol car from like 2000 and something. Is it? No, 97, 98 or something. Any diesel car from I think 2008 can take this yoke here. You install this thing, it hooks up to your phone through an app, and it gives you all the fault codes and what they mean on your car. So you have it straight away. It does it every time. You just leave it plugged in forever, and it just does your fault codes to your Bluetooth reader every single time. And I have a link that'll get you one of those for $20 plus, and I put it up on Facebook page already, $20 plus shipping. And I know the shipping is like 14 quid. I can't control the shipping. It's coming from the States. I was asked to test a few of these yokes. Most of them were a bit ropey, but that one is absolutely spot on. Use it on your own cars. It clears error codes, does everything. And there should be a link in the comments down below, but I'm not sure it's actually there. That could be a problem because I may not have put it in. But I will put in a link to it at some stage on various social medias. But if you want to buy it, it's $20. I think it's normally $60 or something. It's $20 on the link, and it's definitely worth a spin for sure. It's just a simple app on your phone, and it just goes, it tells you all the green causes no errors. If there is errors, it says, do you want to clear them? Do you want to try them again? And if the error won't clear, it gives you all the information. And all of that stuff is free. So there's no subscription charges or any of that crap that goes with it, right? This is just straight up, you buy, you use as much as you want. In America, they're able to book your bloody services and everything for you over there, if you in the American version of it. That was the reader. That's Thomas Hyder. He bought the reader already, and it's good, really good. No charge posted to Louisiana. I know the America. You're so lucky in America. Free shipping in America. We have to pay 14 quid for it over here. Dr. Love. I like it. 2019 Seat Cupra 300 horsepower estate for 20k with virtual cockpit. It's a manual. Would that put you off? Should I try and get an auto? I'm very lazy. I like autos, and I think the 300 horsepower works very well in auto because it actually changes gears faster than you will. So I would go auto, but if that's going to drive the price up a bit by probably 2 to 3 grand even. Autos are more expensive, so I would take the manual or auto in that 2019 Seat Cupra because it is a phenomenal car in all shapes. I'd be happy enough with the manual one. Heno 467. Hello Bob, I'm wondering if you do talks with groups about transport in the future. Yes, I do. Bob Flav at thenextgear.com. You want to be getting involved with that. I will be doing a talk in a college this month. A college in the UK wants to come on and do a talk to them about future transport, electric transport and hydrogen and plannings and the future of how transport works, and that's dealing with people who are in automotive engineering. They probably know more about than I do, but it's just bringing a journalist perspective of where the cars are right now. And I do talks on whatever you really want, as long as it's around transport stuff. That's where I kind of exist mostly, or what it's like to be a journalist, or what it's like to do that sort of stuff. Yes, I do. I also do radio shows and things, so I'm working with Radio Europe at the moment. But yes, Bob Flav, BOB at thenextgear.com. Just don't expect an answer immediately because that inbox is like full. It's full of stuff all the time. Just having a wife sit down once in a while, and we start to go through them until we just figured out where we are with it. Amer HA, hi Bob, I'm planning to return to Ireland. Was thinking of bringing my car back with me, a Porsche 922 C4S. My question is, what are the chances of the car being vandalised in Dublin? Depends what part of Dublin you're in. As much chance as any other car. There isn't particularly a high rate of vandalisation of cars. I don't really see that much. You know, you'd hear about the odd scrape here and there, but being vandalised just depends on what part of Dublin you live in. You know, there's some really high class parts of Dublin that you'll have no chance of any vandalisation, and there's other parts that go right down into ghettoisation stuff that will have a high chance. So it depends on where you're going in Dublin. You can rent out garages. There's places, once you get into the stream of things, if you need somewhere to hold up for a little bit on that particular car, give me a shout. I can find you someone who'll put that in the garage for you for a little bit of a small bit of money and put it inside a safe garage. Where it'll be there, but it'll cost you a bit of money. Dynamic Frame, a friend of mine worked in a Lexus dealership and said they're very hard to get existing customers to upgrade their cars for new ones as they're so reliable, almost too reliable. That is literally the story I hear from multiple owners of Lexus. Once they buy them, they stay with them, and they very rarely change out of them. And so people, that's why Lexus doesn't get up the sales chart more often, because current Lexus owners who should be upgrading the cars don't, because they're happy enough with what they've got and the cars just keep on going. What do you think of the 2007 Lexus IS 250? Yeah, they're okay. They're alright. IS 200, 250 and 300 is the three cars that are in there. The 250 is a good mid-range spec one. They're fine cars. They're a great car, but there's not many of them around. That 07, 06 model of the ISs is highly desirable. People, young guys, buy them to rag them, to drive them hard, and so often that they very rarely come up for sale in any sort of good condition. And if they do, every piece of rubber thing on it has been stressed to its limit because they've been drifting, or diffing as they call it down the country. That's welding your diff, by the way, and then just doing donuts for the crack. Strawberry Q, right Bob, I'll have to leave you sometime babysitting the parties. You're babysitting, right? Parenting, alright, parenting. Oh yeah, okay, babysitting. Back is healing well, but catch the rest of the Sunday service during the week. Thanks Stuart, thanks for dropping in. Keep your back safe. Pat Skills seems to have had a stroke in the middle of that. Are you okay? Didn't even send an ambulance. Oh. Anyway, Eric Watford, outside the main brands of Mercedes, BMW, Audi, will always be difficult for any mainstream brands to cut it high end. You'll never see the likes of Acura, Honda, or Honda, yeah, or Infiniti, Nissan here. No, you won't. And they never really tried. Now, I've seen a few Infinitis here, because Infiniti can be bought in the UK through Nissan dealerships. I think they have an Infiniti connection. But really, it's very small sales. No one who wants a luxury car in Europe will buy a Japanese brand or an Asian brand of any kind. Generally, they think luxury brand is German or Rolls Royce, or one of the big Aston Martin, Rolls Royce, Jaguar, they're seen as the kind of luxury brands in this part of the world, and Acura and Infiniti or any of those other ones, and even Lexus, they all struggle to try and get their name across the line. What's this? Says Frosty John. It is a live stream. It has nothing to do with mass, in case you're wondering. It's a live stream. It's just chats. Just mostly men chatting about cars and stuff. Other things too. Sometimes we look at screenshots. Amazing. Footy Ferrari. Amazing how many once iconic cars are now dead. Jetta, Kia, Avensis, Pajero, Beetle. List is long and getting longer. It's not going to get any shorter. COVID has, in the words of Jo Stenuit, who is the chief European designer for Mazda, I had him on the channel on a Zoom call, we have been catapulted forward by about 5 years in car terms and in business terms. So everything's just been shot forward because of COVID-19. So people don't know where things are going to go next because things are happening so fast for people. It's really happening very quickly for people out there right now. And so car companies are looking at things that they're only shifting a few thousand of a year worldwide and going, right, to get rid of that, let's do this. And that's where Jetta, Ka, Avensis, Pajero, Beetles, all those cars that are disappearing in the list. You'll find more casualties and more, even like if Aston Martin had to be bought out or partly bailed out, essentially, by buying a 20% share by Mercedes, you'll find that that's what's happening there too, that they're going to have to rationalise their range to make the accountants happy. Accountants run most of the car companies these days. If you go back in time, I must do a documentary on this, as to who started car companies. Almost all of them were car nuts. Almost every one of them, the relentless amount of speed they wanted to get to. They wanted to have a car that was just brilliant. Everybody bought one, it was great. But it was to support their driving in some Le Mans race or something. It was always some crazy that drove car companies. And as time wore on, even like Henry Ford, who was an absolute car nut, just backed away from it, and eventually the managing director was an accountant, and then you find there's more and more accounts people getting involved, and even the ex-chairman of Volkswagen, he was an accountant as well. Like they're all in that range. There's nothing wrong with accountants, but when you have people who are not passionate about cars that are running car companies, you are just looking at numbers. Most car companies are 50, 60 years old, almost all of them. If you think of it, they're not very old, and now we're at peak car. You know, it's 2.7 billion or something cars in the whole world, and we're kind of peaked out. So if it's not selling, people drop it. If they can't afford to build hundreds of them and sell millions of them per year, they don't want to know. All those iconic models replaced with bloody SUVs. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, Eric, you're bang on. Zach, what do you think of the 2011 Mercedes E250 CDI? Yeah, they're good. Dependable car, for sure. Nice car. E-classes are always good. Always. Just try to find one with double glazing if you can. It's like a tomb inside. They're very quiet. And the gearbox is good. Like, indisputable engine. They're very reliable. CDI engines usually are. It's common rail diesel. They're actually a little bit more reliable than a straight up turbo diesel. But muchness. They last a long time. Ben Madigan wants me to cook some food unique. What's a neek? I don't understand that. I'm very old. Try to cool some more frozen peas. That was on TikTok. I don't cook food on YouTube. This doesn't happen here, man. Wagman, Bobby, Jack Ward, good man. Zach, what do you think of the 98 Integra Type R? They're lovely cars. That's actually one of my favourite designed cars ever. I could stand to look at an Integra all day long. They're just gorgeous. The two doors inside, its proportions are beautiful. Just a beautiful car to look at. Now, they tend to be bought by people who really drive them very hard. So if you drive them very hard, they don't last forever. That's why we're starting to run out of them now. You don't see as many around anymore. Actually, they're very rare. And one in good condition fetches quite a big money. And will continue because we know where they all are. There's not going to be a barn find of 50 Integras somewhere that we didn't know about. There's just none left. Adam Cully says, have you played any of the Elder Scrolls? All of them. I put out half my life into the games. I didn't play them all that long, but I did like them. They're brilliant games. Literally brilliant games. Ben Madigan's just gone wild there. So Ben, relax, man. Relax. You know, you need to keep your head out of the gutter and take part. Just take part. You know, life doesn't have to be hard. You don't have to make it difficult on yourself. Honestly. Gilbert Russell. Hi Bob, what do you think about the 2014 Toyota Avensis 2014, the last of the Avenzas. D4D, 58,000 miles, 1,000 mile a month commute, M1 South Yorkshire, a good bet. Would be, it's got to be reliable. D4D was very reliable engine, for sure, no problem with that. Boring to drive, Avenzas, but just 1,000 mile commute. You want something that's just hugely economical and really comfortable. If you fit into it and it's nice and comfortable, feels good around you, and you're okay with that, that's the car. That's all you need. It'll go round the clock. All those Avenzas do. Think of all the taxis that are out there that used to be Avenzas. Possibly not in the UK. You guys went all sort of hybrids for a long time with the congestion charge, but a lot of taxis once upon a time were Toyotas, and that Avenzas is the standard D4D engine. Well, Bob, what do you think about the IS200? We're back to 200s again. We've covered them once. Even Russo. Brian, follow on my question, thanks. Just a possible incident response vehicle for the job. Would it be legal? Alright, no cowboy can carry on. If it is an actual incident response vehicle, should be no problem with that at all. If it is a legitimate one, you may be asked to prove that, because we have had situations in Ireland where yellow lights have come on behind people and they've pulled over only to find out that the person behind them was not a genuine person, and the yellow lights were blue lights, and there's all kinds of ramifications of using those lights. It's great for warning people. Warning triangles and stuff are designed to do all that sort of stuff. You may not necessarily need flashing lights on your car to do that, but it's not illegal. I'll say that. It won't be illegal for you to do it, but you may come to the attention of the authorities. That's probably the best way to put it. Tried and tested. Toyota and Lexus have EV cars in China, so it'll come here soon. Yeah, they will, and they will make a more European car than Chinese car, because the Chinese do like different cars than we do. There's actually a range of cars that are European brands, Audi and all those, to bring out in China that we don't get here. Loads of them. They tend to like very long cars. I always wondered why Skoda didn't bring out the Superb over there. Maybe they do now, but I always wondered why they didn't, because Audi brought out the A8. Goes down very big in China because it's a huge car. Don't know why. They were like us. The two most highest rate of sale of saloon cars in the world, Ireland and China. Weird, isn't it? We buy lots of saloons. Lots of saloons don't even come out in England, UK. For example, the Renault, what's that called? Fluence. The Renault Fluence saloon didn't come out in the UK. They never even heard of it because it wouldn't have sold. Ben Moore, do you think it's possible to swap a 2JZ into an Opel Omega? What's a 2JZ? Is that an engine? No idea. No. Anything is possible once the engine mountings line up. Should be okay. And your gearbox and all that. So you just check. Do a Google search. Has anyone done it before? That's the best way to do it. Thomas Heiler says, we had a $9,999 car in 2009, a Nissan Versa. I know what a Versa is, yeah. I can picture it. It'd be something like a Nissan Note over here. It'd be a similar sort of car. We actually had heat, no radio, and hand crank windows. Still had the road today. We got to one of my wife's sisters. She needed another car. Well, actually, weirdly, when the Sandero came out in Ireland, they were talking about the cheapest car they could possibly bring out, which would have had windy windows in the front and no radio. Nothing in it as radio wise. Never come out here in Ireland though. Never happened. Did happen in the UK. You could buy it there. Air conditioning not there either. Yeah, well, air conditioning here doesn't come out in all the cars either. Well, it's a real big optional extra here. Metalhead 4688. Hi Bob, how's Cars Matters going? Opinion on 1.5 diesel Opel Astra 2017 with an auto transmission. Yeah, they're good. They're okay. I don't get on well with Opels, generally speaking. Just because I don't fit in them for some reason. They don't seem to fit me nicely, and that kind of annoys me. When I get into them first, it takes me a long time to find a place to sit. But the 2017 Astra is probably one of the nicer ones. That 1.5 is fine. That 1.5 will go around the clock. Just going to take a drink here. One of the biggest... Oh, it's a Raptor one. I forgot what one was. It's Unleash Your Raptor. Look, Ranger Raptor. I actually got that in Morocco. That just occurred to me right there now. That's got a very... The hole in it's too small, so you don't get much water out of it. John Gerard, what's the point of Cupra badging to rebadge a VW rebadge? Still say it under a different name, utterly pointless. I don't agree there. Now, to be honest with you, I think the Cupra stuff actually manages to do something a little bit more interesting than Volkswagen would do with their GTI stuff. Now the rebranding, if I think I know what you mean, rather, I might actually do agree with you in that they've tried to separate Seat Leon Cupra into just Leon Cupra and make Cupra a different brand. The intention was to actually have Cupra dealerships in Ireland, ones that would exclusively run on Cupra. They scrapped that when they realised it would just cost a fortune, and now they're just putting Cupra into certain dealerships across the country. I don't know which ones exactly, but it's going to go in as part of other dealerships already existing. And I do foresee a future with dealerships now of getting to the point where the dealership will start to, let's say, be multi-franchise. Instead of being directly responsible to one, they will open multi things. If you look at people like Sheehy Motors, who over the years has expanded their range of stuff that they're offering. I think more dealerships, and I know it's Volkswagen particularly, but I think more dealerships start to go that direction, who are just doing one or two manufacturers right now. And it would be a good idea, because I think people want choice, and they don't care really particularly whether you have a glass fronted yoke or you've got a yard full of cars. It doesn't really matter to people, I don't think. Not anymore, not as much as it used to. New Golf GTE looks good. Let's have a look at that. And I actually was at the press conference the other day, and I can't talk about it. I don't think I can talk about it. I was at the press conference for the Golf R. So it's on the way. For sure, it's coming. Who do we look at? Volkswagen GTE on Volkswagen.co.uk. Why is it doing that? Why is it going there? Anyway. New Golf. It's a very bad picture, I would say. Hold on, I'm trying to find a better picture than that. That looks ropey. Yeah, no, that's not Golf. That's ordinary Golf. Look at this. That's not Golf 8. I must be in a different place. That's the old Golf 7, as far as I can see. Hold on, we'll go back and we'll go forward on something else. Autocar must have something. Autocar, you have to be. Yeah, there you go. Now we're talking. There we are. We're on Autocar. Welcome Autocar to the Sunday service. But there she is. That is the Golf GTE in its pictures. Open gallery. Here we go. Oh, I don't like the back. Oh, no. It's too high. Why is it so high on the back? Very tall, isn't it? This bit only here, you can see too much road, wheels and things, you know. I can nearly see exhaust pipes at that stage. Anyway, GTE looks good. Interior is nice. Still not keen on these little folder things that are here. But the car itself, the cockpit looks good. That looks very nice. Yeah, very tidy. There is the engine stroke motor as both. Oh look, windmills in the background, of course, to make you understand that this is a very clean car and we're not talking about CO2. And you can drive into cities where there's massive chimneys there as well, who's to burn things. But I do like the honeycomb thing on the front. It's pretty nice. That's alright. Yeah, it looks like a good car. I just think that's too tall on the back, isn't it? It looks too squat somehow, which is kind of weird. I'd normally like to look at those cars. But that's Golf 8 GTE, which would be good. Looks nice. Good call there, Mark Turnsmith. Jared Hewitt, why have Nissan not brought out an EV Qashqai? No money, I'd say. We shooting fish in a barrel for them. Was the Qashqai was the people's SUVs. The first one, Qashqai in fairness started a brand. Really, like, they invested everything into Qashqai. They got rid of Almira, they got rid of Primera, they got rid of the Tidas and all those things, all in favour of pushing the Qashqai. It was the cash cow for them. It should have been the very first port of call instead of Leaf. I actually think Nissan pulled the trigger too early on Leaf, but I think it should have been their first port of call to go from selling petrol and diesel cars to bringing out a part-time, a PHEV even version of the Qashqai first, before bringing out a BEV version of the same car, and offering it in diesel, petrol, PHEV and electric alongside their ordinary range of stuff, instead of putting everything into the Leaf, because the Leaf arguably has done a little bit more damage to electric cars than any other electric car in the market, because it's weird. Jack Ward, hello Jack. Eric Carter says you can both an accountant and a car nut. I know you can, yeah, of course you can. And in fairness, for the accountant bit of it, they're actually pretty good. A lot of the guys out there are really good, but the pressure is on them to rationalise the company all the time, and so we start to lose and chip away on heritage, and younger generation coming through are coming in as someone to run a company rather than someone who's passionate about cars. And I think that's going to do harm over time. I think that'll do harm to car companies as we mature into things. I'm going to take the lid off that drink because I need a drink, but I don't have to siphon it. I feel like I'm siphoning an old petrol out of it. Try not to get a mouthful of petrol while you're doing it. Not that I ever used to do that, of course. Dear God, I don't even run out of petrol. Mark Turnsmith, 1988 onward Bob with an OBD 2 ports on my 2011 Polo GTI, which is used basically early Golf Mark IV electronics technology. Yep. Yeah, OBD 2 goes back a long way, but from diesel ones, some of the diesel ones aren't compatible with it, older ones. But it is a Bluetooth transmitter, so it works very, very well. It works deadly on my little car. Actually cleared off an error I didn't even know was there. And it's gone. It hasn't come back on. Ben Moore, can you get Pajero as a Shogun for another year? You can get a Pajero Sport. Yeah, you will for a while. They'll continue to roll them out as they had them made to begin with, but the sales have been dropping for years on those older cars. Tony O'Mara, please, views please, 141 Audi A6 S-Line Black Edition Ultra Auto. They're fine, very economical, not great fun to drive because the Ultra bit was more about trying to save fuel, didn't give you performance, but they're very economical for sure. Like, it's an Audi A6. It's out of warranty, by the way. Not very short warranty on Audis. Luke Gibbs, how long would it usually take to film and edit a full car review? A day, usually, if you think of it that way. So if I was to start filming at, say, 9:30, by the time you drive out to somewhere and get set up, if it's not raining and things, you're not dodging showers or wind or whatever, you're talking about filming for 2 hours, sometimes longer. Depending how complicated the car is, and then editing would take maybe 4 to 5 hours, depending on how well I've filmed it. So it depends on whether the footage needs to be reshot or anything needs to be redone or videos need to be dubbed over and that sort of stuff. A thing called ADR sometimes has to be done where you can see me on screen but I'm actually talking into the mic. I'm sitting here dubbing over because it got away from me in somewhere or another. So it depends on how long, but generally I would suggest a full day of filming would take, editing and filming would be where a car review goes to. Where was that now? Steve McCormick, I hope the likes of Mazda are gearing up a battery supply for EVs. There's a lot of companies out there who are wrong-footed if the market supply changes. Market supply has already changed about 10 times. Siemens seem to be the king runner right now with electric cars, batteries. The technology part of it. They're a South Korean company and they've done deals with Hyundai and Kia quite a lot, and everybody wants to buy the Siemens battery because they're the latest tech and the longest range and they look like the one that's actually running the country. But behind that there's an absolute stack of Chinese companies that are also trying to push into that same market and trying to offer battery technology. Volkswagen have bought their way onto many of the boards of management of most of these battery companies, as has the vast majority of people who or companies who were Shell and getting oil from Arab countries. They have also bought in a lot of these electric car places. So the choke of supply is on right now, because if you want to make, if Volkswagen had 20,000 ID3s available for sale when it went on sale, that's very odd. When you think of what it's like, that's very odd, because they should have been sold out. They had them pre-ordered for a long time. So if they can have 20,000 cars sitting there, if they don't sell those electric cars, they'll just stop making electric cars. That's what will happen next. They just go, well, hang on, we're making it, but no one's buying them. So what's going on? They'll have to figure something out. So it really is very much market dependent at the moment. 1998 onwards. OBT, I read that. Have you played World of Warcraft? Yeah, years ago. I haven't played that in years, mind you. Yeah, but I used to be a subscriber on World of Warcraft for a long time. Yeah, it was back when level 80 was the highest, which I got to. Sorry, I don't know why live chat repeating my question. Only press once. That happens to me as well every once in a while on other people's one. Neek is a nerd who is not streetwise or tries to be funny, but not. Of course, he would use the word out of context. Oh, right, okay. Never heard of it. What? I'm very hard to offend, to be honest with you. Jack Ward, what car did you drive, Bob? I have a 2006 Seat Leon, it's my own car, but whatever's on the press, please. Right now, I have a Peugeot 508 PHEV. Ben Moore is confused with Ben Murphy. I think we'll have to ban Ben Murphy, will you? Ben Murphy, right. I can see you put him in timeout. Alright, we'll do that. Ben Moore, Bob, is the 2JZ is the A80 Supra engine? How are you going to get a shoehorn a Supra engine into an old Opel? No, I don't think that's going to work. The Sandero in the UK starts at 7,995. Is that the one with no radio and all that stuff in it? Like, it's really rubbish looking. That thing, I don't think I'd want that, no matter whether it's good or not. Even if it's that cheap, I don't think I want it. But like, the UK market does suffer a lot cheaper cars out there, because there is people who will buy that out there. And so they do bring a much broader range of cars, like Dacia in Ireland or any of those kind of more reasonably priced car companies probably wouldn't bring the cheapest one, because nobody would buy it here. We're very brand weird here, People, if you walk into I was going to say walk into a pub. How long has it been since we walked into a pub to talk about anything? But if you walk into your mate's house and he has a 5 Series outside. You're not going to mention you're driving a Dacia Sandero. So this is an Irish thing, that we feel the brand is very important, brand loyalty, buying into the right point of the market. So that's what holds back a lot of us. You go to France, they'll drive a 1999 Clio till there's nothing left of it, and they're very wealthy, totally well stylish and cool and nice, and because it's cool to drive old cars. And so car sales in France are really distorted. Anyway, Eric Rochford, many models in China have long wheelbase version, which does seem to like an overkill as the models just blur into one another. A long wheelbase E-Class and a short wheelbase S-Class. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Yeah, they're all kind of the same. Yeah, I've never been to China. I've never been to that part of China. I've been to Hong Kong, alright, but I've never been to China. A very different place, by the way, Hong Kong and China. But I'd love to go over and see what it's really like, how fast it's moving over there, because I think it's really moving very quickly in China, and I think China's not telling the world. I think China is an insular market. They work to their own market first before anyone outside really finds out. They only find out when it lands on your doorstep. All of a sudden it's there. And there's Cross 13, wonder where you were. BMW 3 Series and 5 Series coming in long wheelbase in China. Wonder what a 3 Series long wheelbase is like to drive. Often you can afford one of these cars in China. You can also afford a driver. Tesla has a China-specific Model S with executive rear seats for a while too. My God. See, when a market is big enough, car companies ignore you. Us, here, Ireland. Like, Ireland is about 0.2% of the entire EU market. Like, it's that low. So we bat much higher than we think. But when you look at China, when you look at the size of that market, like getting 5% of a market over there is enough to carry you through the next 15 years. You know, it's huge market. But a market that's on odds with itself. They have people who horse and carts out there, and they have people driving long wheelbase Model S classes with drivers. Metalhead says, thoughts on financing an Astra 2017 1.5 diesel around 212 quid a month. I have an Avensis 2005 1.8 litre petrol. I know a fellow who's on TikTok the other day looking to buy that exact Avensis. Anyway, and Yaris 1.3 litre for trade-in, 96 kilometers daily commute till July 21. Currently using Avensis for commute. Why would you just continue using the Avensis? I mean, you're just going to pour mileage. Well, no, I see why. 1.8 petrol, I suppose. Yeah, 1.5 diesel. You're not going to get much better fuel economy from that 1.5 diesel than you would from the 1.8 petrol, because the diesel is going to rev higher. You need to go for like a 2 litre diesel. If you could go similar year, but like a Passat or a Seat Leon or something, you're going to get better fuel economy anyway. And that might save you a bit of money because of your huge commute, which is the big part. The other alternative is to come right up. Maybe you won't be able to afford it because where you are at 2017, but come right up for a full length electric car, because that'll do your commute easy enough. 96 kilometers, not much. Most electric cars these days. Just kind of stick away from the Nissan Leaf into the market and go for a higher range spec, but it's going to cost you a bit more. But for that kind of commute, an electric car would work perfectly well. But if you can't afford that, obviously stick with diesel, but try and stay out of the small diesels. Small diesels don't do well on motorways, not as well as the big diesels. Graham Harron, who is a lovely subscriber of the channel, thank you very much. Hi Bob, and hello to all. Thanks for another Sunday Service. Great stuff. No problem at all, Graham. You're very welcome to it at any time. Don't forget the competition, lads, right? That competition is on the chat down below. It's a tenner to enter. While you're there, it's an easy one. There's only 95, 98, 95 tickets, something like that. Very little tickets, so you have a very high chance of winning it, right? Much higher than spending a tenner on a Euro Millions or something, you know. It's much higher. So, and it's a great day out. I love the guys up in Riley School. They do such a great job at making me feel at home, and the food is nice, and it's a lovely day out, you know. Steve McCormick, the Qashqai would be very desirable in electric form. This is why I'm looking forward to the new Opel Mokka EV. Mokka's a good looking car, isn't it? I said one the other day. I still don't like driving them so much, but they really look good. They have that good solid look about them. They sit very well on their wheels. Thomas Heidler, I saw an ad for Candy, a $10 EV on the E-Electric YouTube channel. Looks like a golf cart sized car. Oh no, I think I've seen that, yeah. I think I've seen that. We'll have a look for it anyway, for the crack, right? Candy. Car. Not Candy, the bloody town. God, I don't know what just come up there. Candy Cars, CNN. Only a mother would love that, lads. Hold on, here we go. Cut. Look at that yoke. Would you drive it? Do you think you'd drive it? I don't think I'd drive that. I don't think I'd be caught dead in that. It looks a bit like an early smart car or something, doesn't it? There's an electric one. It looks like a Kia Picanto, only if you just designed it with a ruler and didn't have access to anything like circular. Look at that yoke. No thanks. No, you can keep that. That one's not so bad, although it has a bit of a face. Look at a smiley face on it and stuff. And there's one. Look, it's 20 grand, $20,000 for Candy. Looks like a Fiat 500L. And there's a woman standing between two cars. I don't know, she's giving a speech there. But look at that first one. This one here looks rubbish. This one here looks rubbish, like it got punched in the face or something. Very weird looking car. But if it came in at a reasonable price, I suppose you could see why you would want something like that. You know, you look at it, if it was very reasonably priced, you'd see why electric cars would go down pretty well in that respect. Angel Flores, how are you? Metalhead. My wife not able to get insurance on Toyota Viz 2007 on a 3 years of named driver experience and learner permit. Insurance company said they were rejecting due to being a Japanese model. Any solutions? The Viz, well, there's no parts in that that's any different from an hour or from a Yaris. That's a Vitz, isn't it? Or Viz. I don't really have a good answer for you, other than you'll have to ring around absolutely everybody. Tell them it's a Yaris. Don't tell them it's a Vitz. Get it changed on the logbook or something to change over to Yaris, because they're just a Yaris with different names. It came out as a Vitz over there, but as far as I'm aware, there's no different parts in that Vitz than there is from a Toyota Yaris. India is still a current VW Polo saloon called Vento. It looks very nice, but purely an Indian market vehicle. There's some electric specific models around still. There's lots of work going on electric cars worldwide. Everybody's on the gold rush for it. As I said earlier, be very careful where you're getting your information from. It's probably not the time right now to start asking people, because everybody wants to make money really, really, really quick. That's what they're really at right now. So it's definitely going that direction. Thanks, Bob, for the help. No problem at all. I vote Daniel Brio. What's your thoughts about the new Nissan Z Proto? And I think you missed opportunity to car and EV. Nissan need to up their market very fast. I know they have the Leaf, and the Leaf does well from other markets, but they're being left behind in the electric car market. I'll show you that Proto thing, because that is just a gorgeous looking car. It is very, very handsome. Look at that thing. It's just lovely. Now, how many of them they're going to sell is a whole different question. That's not the same. That's not the same thing at all. That's a two-door sports car. It's meant to be like the Nissan 350, 370Z. You know, it's meant to look like that kind of car. And if you look at the shape of it, it actually is that drop roof there. The coupe look to the whole thing. But it does look very exciting for Nissan. But why would you spend all the money on that car and not spend your money on making a good, decent, honest, ordinary car that you can have that sells well in your own country? You know, there's a lot going on there. Garrett Talbot says, great deal on the Fixit OBD2 reader, £90 sterling on Amazon today, and it's only $20 on my link. Even with shopping accessories, so much cheaper. It is. Thank you very much, Garrett, for buying that. It does support the channel, by the way. That I do get a cut from the OBD2 sales, and I only take those sort of things when I know that you guys are going to get something from it, that I get a cut, and we're all getting something cheap. You know what I mean? That the offer's pretty good. And I did put it up on our Facebook page, which I might go look now, just to make sure it is there, on our Sunday service page. Sunday service community is right here. And I'm on a big TV. Thank you very much, Paul O'Connor. You're very good. There's the link for the Fixit thing. I'll put it up here. Give me that. Copy. And I'll put it here in our own chat, in case you want to do it. Oh my god, that's not what I want. That's not what's supposed to happen there. We'll delete that. That didn't work out at all. Open the link and do it that way. Oh yeah, it's pulling up the massive link off it. That's what's going on there. Anyway, I will put out a link for that later on. And it is, if you're on our Sunday Service Facebook page, it is on the Facebook page there. It's only 20 quid plus shipping. And as Gareth pointed out there, it is £90 sterling for exactly the same thing on Amazon today. So use the link, which supports me, and you get it much cheaper, 20 quid. What do you think of the 2012 Fiesta ST? All STs are cool, Zach. All of them. They're all cool in their own way. They're not, but they're bought by people who rag them. They work very hard, and they will continue to work very hard. Hi Bob, does Fixit work on EVs? Can I report battery? Never checked that. There is a link that I had somewhere from the guys who sent me that, who gave me a list of links that I could use to check compatibility with cars. I have to find them again though. That's the problem right now this very minute. Jake, there he is. Let's see if he has a link for that. Put into it somewhere. He's also he worked with Linus Tech Tips and all that sort of guys. So it's kind of cool he's working with us as well, which is neat, isn't it? That's not it. I have to find him now. Hold on. Talk amongst yourselves again. I'll be back in a second. Jake. Yes, here we go. Here's a compatibility link that I'm going to put in the chat here for us. You have a look at it. If you have a look at that, you will see that lists out what you're looking at now. The problem is electric cars may not be on that list, but if you go for, I'll go for 2020 and go, is there any Teslas on it? Any Kias on it? Tesla is on it. Check compatibility. No. I don't think Tesla's Model 3. Yeah, it is, yeah. Fuel type. Fuel type, select one. Doesn't give you a thing. That doesn't seem to be working for me, that check compatibility. So maybe it's not there. Maybe the Teslas aren't there. I'm not sure whether OBD2 readers would work on electric cars. I'm sure they will. They're one of them. That Fix-It crowd are probably one of the best ones I've come across ever. And they're very quick about coming back to me on stuff. So if you have questions, if you bought it, not working for you, come back to me. Or come back to them, whichever. And we'll find out if there's anything we can do to figure it out. I'll send an email on Jake later on. And see if he knows. As for Ocean Froggy, by the way, Ben Moore, what do you really sell second most saloons in the world? Yeah, well, no, not anymore, but we used to. It used to be us and China had the highest rate of sales per capita of saloon cars. We went hatch and now we're all SUV. The small SUVs, what we said now, in bucket loads for some reason. I don't get either. Hellhound, check out Dacia in UK. I'm impressed. I'll be tempted, really. I like Dacia stuff. I find it very hard to excuse people who ignore Dacia as if it's like, well, a cheap brand. But they give so much value. I know the stuff doesn't all work together, but you get touch screens, you get CD players, you get USB ports, you get Apple CarPlay, you get all that stuff. You get cruise control, you get remote steering, you get all that stuff is all there with Dacia. You just don't have to pay very much for it. Paul Dunn says the reason there's 20,000 ID3s hanging around is because you told everyone to wait. You told everyone to wait till next year for electric cars to come up more choice. And I'm still right. I still think unless you've set your heart on something that is available right now, I would still wait till it kind of coming close to the middle of next year, because by the middle of next year we'll have so many more things on the market, electric car wise, and all the update stuff they're talking about doing in the Volkswagen Group and the software update, they'll all be done. We'll have this Skoda Enyaq will be here as well, and the Seat Elborn will be on the market. There'll be lots more stuff on the market as well, and that will drive the price down. And we're going to get some more entry level bits into the EV market where it should be. We should be looking at Svelte Yorks. We should be looking at things like Hummers, which I was looking at the other day. A Hummer electric is probably the last thing we need right now. It's not going to help the market. It's like changing a Ford F-150 into an electric car. It's kind of pointless. Because you're just making the same way. Like those Rivians that are driving up on a long way up, them things weigh nearly 3 tons. Those cars, I was looking them up to see now they're prototype ones, but they're 3 tons weight, just standing on their own with nobody in them before they put any camera equipment into them. No wonder they're short range. Because heavy means harder work. Cross 13, almost all EVs have proprietary OBD2 protocols for that stuff. OBD2 is not legally required for EVs. The Model 3 has no OBD2 port, although retrofit diagnostics do exist. I wonder then if I didn't pick Tesla on that OBD2 reader thing, which I've closed again. Of course I have. So why wouldn't I? No, it's not. Give me that. Open that. We just pick another electric car. That's not what I want. I've closed the link. I forget now where it's gone. Yeah, there it is. Compatibility. If I pick any other electric car, so let's go 2019 Alfa Romeo Austin. Here you can see what I'm doing. Here, now this is what I'm doing. So there's a compatibility app for the Fix-It sensor thing that I have. I picked 2019 any car. Why is it not working? Sometimes it doesn't work. Aston Martin, Audi, Bentley, Buick. Let's go Kia, and then we go Soul EV. We're looking good. We just go base model, or it is electric. Yeah, check compatibility. Unfortunately, Fix-It is not guaranteed to be compatible with your vehicle. Not guaranteed doesn't mean it won't work, but it's not guaranteed. So let's pick Kia. Is there there's Lamborghini. We go down to say Porsche and go Taycan. Is Taycan on the list? Did that come out over there? No, that's make is Porsche. Sorry, model. No, not there. Porsche. Tesla's there, alright. Toyota, Volkswagen, Volvo. See, there's not many electric cars in the first place. So it's very hard to find out. We'll try Mercedes-Benz. Any on that list? GLC, Maybach. No, right. Well, anyway, the one that we've looked at was the Kia one. It's not guaranteed to do it, so I don't know if it's going to work with your electric cars. But I did put up the link there for the compatibility. You can root through yourself, see what you can find. There's lots of people getting deleted off the list. Will you stop making Eric Watcher work so hard? Will you, for God's sake? I'll have to up his pay. Feck, like. What do you think of Renault Leo Williams? Yeah, that's a pretty old car, but yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, no bother. They're okay. All the Renault Leos are pretty good. That was the association they have with Williams. It's not a race car. I can tell you that straight away. Raymond Grace, how about you release a car video? I didn't, because I had a major problem with my hard drive. Just decided to quit and give up, and it was looking for pay rises and it was looking for time off for good behaviour and all sorts of stuff, and just went, no, you're not having it this week. So I had to quit out of it. And reformat the whole thing and put it into a new hard drive. But I'll have a couple of ones out this week. The Candy is very expensive for what it is. Renault City EV, which is the Dacia Spring, is based on, which I'm waiting to see this Dacia Spring. I want to get that thing over here. Anyway, it's sold effective for $7,500 grand in China. Plenty of other options like Wulang Mini EV, that's some name, isn't it? Wulang. 4.2 thousand euro for an EV car. Can you imagine if we could bring out a car in Ireland for $4,000? Jeez, that'd be like, you'd be laughing, wouldn't you? Leaf is already dead. Production is ended a few months before the Aria arrives. It's about bloody time. I actually had a soft spot for Leaf, and I really did. I really wanted it to win. But the more you drove it, the more you realise it was just this compromise. And it's always, unfortunately now, it's the one that's held up as the electric car. So you're looking at it and you go, well, that's an electric car, that's great, yeah, but why are they doing 80 kilometres an hour in the slow lane and they've all got like woolly clothes on them? It's just, why are they doing that? So that didn't help the Nissan transition onto something good, whereas now we're looking at good electric cars around the market, and it's really easy to point them out and go, it's just working. That's all working right now. And we can just, electric cars are now starting to take over, which is good. And it's on the way. And I think once we get to 50% of the market here, electric cars will change the market entirely. We'll start to see the thing in a very different way. Liam Cotter, I dropped that. Back up. Bob, your thoughts on election? Do you think silent Trump fans will win and come out again? I actually do. Do you know that? I really do. I thought it would be gone way over one direction at this point, but looking at the polls, they're still quite tight, and that's kind of scary, because that's what happened last time too. That was the same thing. We ended up in a situation where they were very, very close together, and we all thought Hillary was going to walk away with it, and then at the last minute, zip, up he comes, and all of a sudden they're pretty close. Bob thought, we did that one. Do you work at Subway? Because you just get me, good man, Ben Madigan. You're about as smart now as two lunatics. But yeah, you're going to be hid now from the channel completely. So that'll be the last time we'll ever see a message from you. But you can continue watching in the background, but nobody can see what you say. What do you think of Lexus LFA? You probably won't find one. With the thing, fabulous looking car. Most of them are, but it's a difficult one to find. Kieran Houlihan, Bob, currently driving on an Octavia hatchback, looking to upgrade and move away from the Skoda. Oh, poor Skoda. But for change, not so interested in the Superb. Looking at E-Class Estate 2017-2018, brilliant. If you can find, do you know there's a PHEV Estate diesel car that Mercedes do of that year, and it's really good. Really good. There's actually a review, not PHEV, it's just a straight up diesel, I think. There's a review on my channel of that year Mercedes E-Class. E-Class Estates are brilliant. They just are. They just work so really well, And I had the PHEV one here, which has a diesel tank in it, a standard diesel, 1,000 kilometre range and 40-50 kilometres of electric. The drawback was you could not generate electricity from the diesel engine. So when you're driving along, you couldn't get much out of it. Ben Moore, I hate SUVs more than any other cars. Pay more for a car that isn't nice to drive, and you're right, an estate really isn't safe. It isn't, and they're nowhere near as nice to drive as a saloon or a hatchback or an estate or any of those cars. Plenty of spammers today. Maybe you should get a life. Eric, you'd be busy. Eric does such a great job here, to be honest with you. He's always on and always keeping us safe, and he's got my back the whole time. It's the growth of the channel, guys. We're nearly 60,000 subscribers now on YouTube, but it's grown at about 2,000 a month or more. 5,000 last month, 5,500. Some of that came from TikTok. So the channel is growing very, very quickly. So it's not just the hardened few that come every week. There's more now. There's more people on the channel, but it's cool to have everybody along. But some people are just come on to try and get a crazy attachment to us, and they like it, which is good. But I like them, which is always good. And we'll get there with the TikToks and everything else. It'll all come back to normal eventually. But we have to invest some time in everything. We welcome new people, but we want you old people to stick around, which is always good. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Van prices in the UK are astronomical. New ones are about 1,500 to £2,000 more than 2 years ago. One guy now traded his 3-year-old Transit, which he bought a year ago, and got more than he paid. I know, but see, everybody wants to convert vans into camper vans. That's what's going on there. There's a lot of that goes on. A hell of a lot of that goes on. And that's the problem that we have every possible way, is the amount of money that's being spent currently on vans, because people are buying them and then trading them and then doing them up as commercial vehicles first, buying them that way, then turn them into camper vans. So I'm getting you the link for if you want to get one of those little fix-it apps, which everyone's talking about, the little fix-it yokes. Here's the link from me that gets it for 20 quid. That's the yoke that Gareth was talking about a second ago. That's now £90 or £80 on Amazon. You can have for $20. And I know they're shipping on it, but it still works out to be cheaper than the one off Amazon. And it's the same thing. Heno, the 2020 Model 3 doesn't work on the website, but 2019 does. Oh, there you go. There, it works now. You can have the Tesla on it. Has the Sunday Service Facebook community disappeared? No, it hasn't. Could not find it. Plenty of religious ones, but Sunday Service vanished a few weeks ago. Cheers, good show again. No problem at all. There was a bit of a problem with the Sunday Service Facebook community. It was being monopolised by individuals, and some individuals were removed from it until it's settled down again, and it's perfectly settled down now. It's running away. Absolutely lovely, and that's probably why you don't see it much anymore. Tony O'Mara just ordered a Fix-It. It's $14 postage. I know I can't control the postage. Unfortunately, it has to come from America. It doesn't come from Ireland. They're charging 90 quid on Amazon for exactly the same thing, which I have here in my hand. It's that size. You plug it straight into your OBD2 reader and it just works straight out of the box, and the app works straight out of the box as well. It connects up by Bluetooth, and you just leave it plugged in. Don't have to plug it out, but you can plug it in and out of any car you want. I'm figuring on doing maybe a series when I get a press car, plugging that in and just see if there's any errors in the press car. Just to see. I might have to get permission to do that one, mind you. Enjoy the chat today, no problem at all. Flavinite Disciple, you look after yourself. Oh, we're at 4 o'clock, my God, we've got here already. Glenn Jones, what's going on? You're late. That's what's going on. Where's your message, your note from your mommy and daddy to tell you where are we up to now? Like, Heno, what are your thoughts on a Tesla Cybertruck, Bob? It won't come to Europe. That's the first thing. It's too big. We don't really need great big battery powered trucks in this part of the world. We don't even need great big diesel powered trucks here unless you've got a commercial reason for having one. So you gotta weigh it off that you're gonna make a great big pickup truck, which is what America wants. See, they want that. The Ford F-150 is a huge seller in America, still probably one of the biggest seller cars in America. So the Cybertruck was going to create an element of working against that massive truck that they have out there. So if the Cybertruck was to succeed in America, great, but where's all those batteries going to come from to feed that massive truck? It'd be better to have nice, small, svelte things like Model 3, Model S. They would be more sensible because they can do better mileage with not exactly the same amount of battery in it. You don't need the big motors, big batteries, massive yokes, weighs a ton, crazy like. Bob, did you eat the salmon of knowledge? You know everything. I don't know everything. But I did have a little conversation with salmon of knowledge once upon a time. And I did definitely kiss the Blarney Stone, which also helps, If you want to do that, you're a tourist, get on there. I'm not sure you're allowed to do that under COVID-19 rules anymore. Glenn Jones, did you think the Wild Track Renault was a good drive? What was the Wild Track Renault? I enjoyed that. Wild Axe Renault. I don't know what that is. What do you think of the 2-litre diesel Scirocco? Loving the content. Yeah, Scirocco's good. It's a good car. A mate of mine, Leah Carroll, she does touringcar.ie. She used to own a Scirocco. Don't think it was diesel. I think she had a petrol one. It's a fine car. It's a 2-litre diesel Volkswagen engine. It's fine. It's a Golf essentially underneath the Scirocco. Petrol's nicer to drive in them, just because it suits the car a little bit better. But diesel's very economical. Danny Farrell, Bob, I'm looking at buying a 3 Series BMW 2-litre diesel around 9 to 13. Are they reliable? Getting mixed reviews. They're reliable until they're not. That's the problem, Danny, is most of those cars are driven very high mileage and very hard. And at the same time, they'll be fine reliable, but when they go wrong, they tend to be much more expensive to service than their equivalent cars. BMW charge quite a bit, and they're very hard to work on. They fill those engine bays up to the top with stuff. Very complicated engines, you know. Muff, you're just going to disappear as well, right? Just get rid of you. So just keep banning people left, right, and centre. It's okay. Paul Fun, Biden is a huge lead, 90% chance, no worries. Do you think? Do you think he has a huge lead? It depends on who you're talking to. In November, who's going to buy an ID3 now, especially with well-publicised infotainment problems and poor software? Always avoid Generation 1 of anything new. Well, they say they're going to put the software right on the cars that are there. So with software, if software problems can be updated, that's the thing I think at the moment, and that's the thing a lot of car companies are relying on that quite heavily, is that people are spending money on developing a car that's not ready for sale in the rush to get it out, because they know they can update the software later on. Tesla did that early on too. They've settled on their software now, but they still do. Tesla don't tell you they're updating software a lot of times. They just do it. You have to agree to it. So there is an element that car companies are getting used to doing that idea that over-the-wire software is happening. And Ford do it too. Even Ford gave me a Puma here, and it said it needed software update the day I got it. It was looking for a Wi-Fi connection. Now, Model 3 and ID3 and those kind of cars are more sophisticated in that they can get their updates like without really asking you. You can do it, but big software updates need to be done for most of the modern cars. Cars aren't release finished anymore. Like most things aren't release finished anymore. Like Apple iPhones and all these phones you buy, what happens once, maybe 2-3 times a year, they update software and they change how it all works. So that's going to happen with your cars more often than not. There's Byron. How are you, Byron? Zach, do you know any good model car companies? Model car companies. Barago is the only one I know that makes like scale model car company. But after that, not really. I would have had a few Barago cars over the years. I have a couple of model cars, but I don't know who makes them. It's Volkswagen brand of any doubts. There must be another name on it somewhere, I suppose. No, it's just German on the back of it. No brand name. German and Chinese written on the back, and there's no actual brand name, just a hologram sticker to say this is an ID3 in a box, by the way, which is like now a collector's item. The car isn't even properly released yet. Do polls not just reflect popular vote the way US elections work? The popular vote doesn't mean much. Well, that's what happened the last time. That's what happened to Boris Johnson. That's what happened to all of these people out there. The popular vote said they were going to run away with it. Even our own election, you'd think the popular vote Varadkar was going to run home. It wasn't until the 9th count or something he got in. So what you hear in polls, often the reverse really happens. I would be scared of a general surge. Postal vote, not scared, not really going to affect us that much, but I would have problems with what's going to happen next all of a sudden in the US, if no matter who gets in, to be honest with you, because Biden looks like a sensible one, but let's be serious, Biden is pretty old. Like if he goes, he's nearly 80, isn't he? Like he's not exactly a spring chicken. So is he going to be good for the country? Who knows? I mean, we rely quite heavily on US integration in our lives. And we hope that it all works out for them. But, you know, at the moment, there's riots and it looks really bad. The news from America never looks really good. Do you know what I mean? Do any electric cars have the option to simulate an engine noise through the radio? Not yet, because generally people who buy electric cars don't necessarily want that noise to happen. There is a couple of companies who will fit speakers to your car to make noises on the outside, like, you know, engine notes and stuff. And there is things you can do to the car to make more noise, but most people just want them to sound like spaceships. Effectively, you can make an electric car sound whatever you want to sound, because they do actually have actuators in them that run a particular noise below, I think it's 18 kilometers an hour. They make this kind of weird whine, and technically you can make different noises. Renault actually had I can't remember what it was. Was that a Clio or something I had here? But you could make it sound like spaceships and things. It was weird. It was like actuating sound through your infotainment system. That was really good. The polls, vast, numerous. Paul Fun says the polls are vast, numerous individual states, national, county, micro, early voters. Most of the polls ever respected data could actually put them all together. Trump losses and possibly in a landslide. Well, let's hope we get some good news from that element, because I think Trump has held himself up as being a bit of an idiot over there, and the way the press talks about him. But then, like, he won the first time, and everybody said there wasn't a hope of him winning. There was no hope he was going to win. No way that Trump, who could possibly vote for Trump, and he won. Like, and then there's the other element that he doesn't. That's not winning the vote is not necessarily elected as president. There is another element that has to go to that, which is the college votes and all those things have to. I don't quite understand how that works. They have a different way of voting than we do. And we're different from the UK as well. They do first past the post. We don't do that here either. We do proportional representation here, which is a different thing entirely. They're making a smaller CT for Europe, aren't they? Who are? We missed the first half of that. Tony Amara, no problem with the postage, just letting people know. Yeah, it is. It's €14 postage for Ireland. England, I think, is different again. If you're in the US, it's free postage, which is happening as well. Hold on, someone's after donating some money by PayPal. Thank you very much, whoever that was. It hasn't come up to me who it is yet. Maybe I shouldn't read out your name. But thank you very much, who's just donated by, because that name I don't recognise. So I don't know, maybe you don't actually want your real name read out. Ocean Farby, agree. Unfortunately, the Leaf has put a lot of folk off the idea of EV as practical cars. It's done a little bit more harm than good, and that's unfortunately. I wish the Leaf had held on for another 5 years, instead of 2010 launch, 2015 launch, with the second version of the Leaf here, and I think it probably would have made a better go. And even if Nissan had invested properly in the second version of the Leaf and made not air cooled but active cooling system inside an active cooling pack, I think it would have massively helped their problems, because range anxiety comes into when people think about it all the time. How far? It's the first question when you talk about electric cars. The first thing people do is, well, how far can you drive in that? And so when you say the Nissan Leaf is pretty good until it gets hot, then it's not so good. Then you got a problem. So, Paul, when I ordered a Cybertruck single motor, got to go to Tesla and upgrade to the dual motor someday after this. I'd love to see it, Paul. Send me pictures of it, will you? It actually comes out. Kieran Heaven, Bob, are you or your followers aware that the VW Golf 7.5 have a defective 12-volt car battery? Mine gave up on Friday on the M50. Poor show from VW. Thanks, Bob. I did not know that. I haven't heard that from anyone else, Paul, or Kieran, sorry. Have they fixed it, or what have they done? A defective 12-volt car battery would make it cut out while it's driving along. It would run effectively on the alternator, although cars don't really have alternators like they used to have. But I haven't heard that one before. Let me know the resolution of that, Kieran, will you? If you run into trouble and you can't get it sorted, let me know what's going on with that, because we'll see if we can do something for you. Brian O'Donnell, son of Cyrus, Bob, gang, stay safe. Boom. Look after yourself, Brian. See you later on, man. Auto Art is the best model car company. David Sheehy, there you go. Auto Art is another one. Thomas Keeley, is there much you can do to an exterior of a Mark 7.5 without making it look too boy racery? Alloys are where you'd start with that. You can get some subtle kind of chin things done to, the chin spoilers and small bits. I wouldn't do like eyelids or any of that stuff on it. Like, don't go wild on it. But changing alloys is always a good start. No spoilers or anything, unless there's subtle longer spoilers than normal. I just bought Fixer from your link. Good man. Cam shifter, it does work. I've used it here. It works perfectly well. It's a good little yoke, because I know I'm always talking about I have fault codes or something wrong with the car, so we're always talking about fault stuff, and you have to go to the dealership to do it, and this just dodges the dealership. So you're still not going to fix anything. If you can't fix it, it's not going to fix your car, right? But at least you'll have some idea what the fault code is and what it means. So when you go to the garage and they go, this is wrong, you go, well, my fault code says there's nothing wrong with that. Which could be a laugh. What do you think to say to beat the 1.6? That's a pretty good car, actually. Yeah, they're okay. They're even enough car on the road. They're older ones now, the 1.6. There's 1.4 of that as well. But smaller diesels don't really work so well, I don't think. They're kind of a cheat. A smaller diesel is sort of a cheat. You need a sort of a bigger diesel to get better fuel economy if you want that way. Smaller petrols work better. Are any EU models affected by Toyota fuel problems? Normally Toyota would be very active on sending out press releases on any recalls within Ireland, and I haven't had one, so I don't think so. Not yet anyway. Thank you very much for joining us on the Sunday service. It is now 4:15. We're miles into it. Oh my god, we're so far. Don't forget to enter the competition. The competition is definitely worth your time. There's only 95 tickets. I'm sure some of them are already sold, so be aware that competition is going to sell out very fast. I think it'll sell out very quick. And it's a good price. It's in the links down below. I'm going to put other links all over social media for the next while, unless it's sold out. Then I won't put any more links up because it's only a tenner. The Fix It thing is brilliant. Noah, the app, is also in the list of links. links down below. There's loads of ways to support the channel during this downtime, which is very important because views are down. Everything's down, essentially, the way YouTube is working and operating right now. Everything's down apart from the Sunday service, which is up, because today we've had 7,695 of you visiting. So that's very nice. Thank you very much. That's a lot of you. That'd be one of the bigger days of today. And that's just playbacks from today. So I don't know how long people will watch it for. But it's been good fun today. Really have got through all the questions. Slowly but surely. Please look after yourself over the next little while. Keep the mind square. Yeah, you can join me on TikTok if you want to come over there. See videos every day. I answer questions there as well, and we'll do some live chats on the TikTok during the week while I'm working on stuff. I will put out some videos this week for everyone to watch, but if you're stuck and you need to talk to somebody, then talk here. Come here, go there, go wherever the social media is, and interact with people around with you. Just be nice and do it in a nice way if you can possibly. Anyway, look after yourselves, and until the next time, I will see you on the far side.